Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Everybody, Dave Scott here in Spaced Out Radio Land from beautiful British Columbia. Hanging out with you tonight. Roderick Martin is our guest. We'll bring him in here shortly we're going to go over, everything that is weird, strange, and obtuse in the world of paranormal, supernatural, UFOs. We're going to do things a little different tonight for you. I want your questions right off the bat. You guys are going to dictate what Roderick and I are going to talk about tonight. We'll have some fun with Roderick Martin coming up shortly. But first, let's say hello to all of you. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position. We got Kathy Evans taking home a silver. Logan L. back in the bronze medal position. Hi, Brad Ford at Crystal J. Michael Morris and Les Paul Holland. How are you? Brown Dwarf, Lisa C. Good to see you. Monica, nice to have you back. Hey, Human Carl, a great veteran who listens to this show. Thank you for your service, Human Carl. Pink Volo and Ann B, how are you? Robert Lamoth, and let's see, who else do we got here? Sandy B, how are you, Sandy? Starting in goal, number 31, Lars Jansson from Örnsköldsvik, Sweden. Yes, Örnsköldsvik, Sweden. That's right. By the way, Lars will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. He will sign in Swedish only. Nikki in Seattle, how are you? Hi, Maggie M10. Vaughn Patrick, Bigfoot Rob, and W. David Page. Good to have you guys here. Hi, Atlantis is found. And Jenny, nice to have you here. Grandizer, good to see you. And who else do we have? Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Let us continue. Hi, Amazing Kira. How are you? And Jamie Johnson, welcome to SOR Chat. And who else do we have here? GTO Dave, welcome to SOR Chat. And who else is here? Jessica. Evan Walters, he's pissed off already, which means he'll be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Joe Ferreira from Brazil, welcome to SOR Chat. Boy, I'd love to hear your story, my man. I would love to hear your story. Sounds amazing. Hi, Hip Hop. How are you, my man? And who else? The Unknown. Good to see you back. Magnus Vermagnuson. Sirius Dogon. How are you? And OB Flett, my big man. How are you? Greg 777G. How are you? And let's see. Pixie Lara. Good to see you. And Doc from Wyoming. Jorgen Johansson, he'll be starting at left wing wearing Per Olav Brassar's old number 16. He's rocking it from Holmsted, Sweden. Holmsted. I don't know if I got that right or not, but, that's just the way it is. The Beard, how's it going there, buddy? Kevin and Kevin's Beard, two separate entities. We want to get that through. How you doing, buddy? Long time, no time. And who else do we have here? Cosmic Fleur. Nice to see you. Sweet Donnie C. How are you? Derek Ning. Thurston Howell III. Boz Monster. Digger Dog. Good to have you all here. And there's Enki. Good to have you back. And let's see here. Where are we here? Susie B. Good to have you here. Eric Martin. Thanks for coming on in. I think we're officially caught up. Let's get the radio side opened up here. So that way, Bill WD40, you're going to watch him pop up right here. You're going to see Bill WD40 pop up, and then he's going to lube us up for tonight's show, because every show you want, you just want to slide right in, nice and easy. And there he is, Bill WD40 right there. Hi, Bill WD40. Looking good tonight, buddy. Let's see here. We got about 30 seconds. The super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis as well. Don't forget to read the ticker. We want to see you all in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 19th through 21st at the Golden Nugget Casino for our second annual fan party. Tickets are on sale now. Go to info@spacedoutradio.com. And last thing before we go, happy 24th birthday to my beautiful daughter. Horns up. Let's rock. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Another power show for you to listen to tonight. Yeah, Roderick Martin is back. We got a great show with him. If you haven't signed up for his YouTube channel yet, you definitely need to. It's called Why the Big Secret. Make sure you get on over there and hit subscribe on that. It's high quality news, entertainment. Roderick is one of the best of the field, in my opinion, and we're glad to have him back on tonight's show. All right, we also, coming up in hour 3, have the Swamp Dweller, who's going to give us another spooky story. Then Super Duke for World Bigfoot Radio will be here for the Cryptid Report. Yeah, it is that time. Let's just kick this thing off. Roderick Martin is the host of the YouTube channel Why the Big Secret. Why the Big Secret is a new conspiracy-themed show that promises to uncover the hidden truth about some of the world's most mysterious phenomena, from secret societies and government secrets to the paranormal and unexplained. Why the Big Secret, hosted by Roderick, will explore a wide range of topics that have long been shrouded in secrecy. And tonight we're going to do things a little bit different on this show. Normally I don't take questions for hour number 2, but we're going to let our audience in our chat rooms on YouTube and on Twitter dictate what you want us to talk about. We talk a lot about UFOs. We talk a lot about monsters, sometimes paranormal, when we get a good paranormal story, especially from Merle. But this is all about you guys tonight. I'll fill in. You guys fill in. Roderick will fill in his questions, and we're just going to have a great time. Roderick Martin, it is always a pleasure to have you on this show, my friend. How are you, buddy?
Spaced out, baby. I'm spaced out. And on the radio. Spaced out radio. Let's put it together.
You got that right. You got that right. Man, has it been a busy year to kick off 2023, especially in the UFO world. And I realize that a lot of our people are getting sick of hearing UFO talk. But I mean, when it's in the news and it's right there, it's our duty to report on it. And it's our duty to talk about it. Are you sick of the UFO chatter by now?
Heck no. It's a new era, man. It's a new game. People think that, we having this disclosure. Okay, they're going to change the game is not going to change of hide and seek. They're going to change the rules. and it's up to us to adapt to the new rules, and that's what we do. It's that song my little kids used to sing, Dave, like, this is the song that never ends. Come on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was. The same thing with this. This will never end, and they're gonna continue to do it that way. So
This is why I've been telling my audience. I don't know if you've been telling yours. This is why I've been telling my audience recently, Rod, that there is no such thing as disclosure. No such thing at all. Because disclosure means they're going to tell us everything that has happened the last 70 years since Roswell or just before that. They're not giving up the secrets.
no.
They're not going to tell us the origins. They're not going to talk about aliens. They're not going to talk about anything, at least for now and the next near future. This is why I've been telling our audience we are in a confirmation movement. Yes,
Okay.
there's a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes and at the Pentagon. I found out earlier today NASA is going to be, hosting a UFO get together with the branches of the military, Enigma Labs, and a couple other people like Avi Loeb are going to be there, and they're going to really delve into it. But of course, that's not for the public because we don't deserve that, Roderick.
Right. I'm with
We
you.
can't handle it.
We can't handle it. You know, to piggyback on what you're saying, and it's correct when it comes down to this disclosure day, because you're talking about 10 doors. I'm gonna use that for example. And behind each door is a secret. And we think as the public, okay, disclosure. And we may know what's behind door number one, so we can press them and they go, okay, you got it. But they're not gonna admit you guys forgot about 2 through 10, and here it is, right? And I think that's one of those things that we have to look at it. But on the flip side, Dave, do we really want disclosure? Do people really want disclosure? For example, you at home and you look at the neighbors, because when the neighbors are not there because the grass is growing and the newspapers are stacking up, right? And then you go, okay, the Johnsons is out of town, and okay, well, but when you get a knock at the door because we want disclosure, and they go, oh, by the way, the Johnsons was abducted. We just want you to know, because of disclosure, we want to inform you that your neighbor was abducted. That's okay. They're a little sore from the probing, but they're back. And we just want you to know they're still around in the neighborhood. We're looking for those aliens, but disclosure is yours. You get what I'm saying? Are we ready for stuff like that? I don't think so. What do you think?
I don't think so either. And I remember talking to Lou Elizondo about this last year, when all the hype started dying down around COVID. And I said to Lou, I said, was COVID a test for you guys? Not the disease. We're not debating COVID here, but the way people treated each other, ratting people out for not wearing masks, stealing food out of people's hands, going to the grocery store, buying up all the toilet paper, when there was never a toilet paper shortage, the mass hysteria and panic that the mainstream media caused over COVID. I mean, there was a lot of testing areas there. And Lou said to me, yes, absolutely we were. And I can see after the way people treated people through the last couple of years, I can totally see, Roderick, where somebody in the Pentagon would say, did you see these idiots out here? The way they're grocery shopping, the way they're stealing food out of children's hands and medicine that they don't need. Nobody needs, it's like those idiots who were caught on Amazon selling hand sanitizer for $75 a mini bottle, and
Yeah.
people were buying them. We saw literally some of the worst of humanity at that time. We really did. And I could see them at the Pentagon saying, you imagine how this crap is going to break down if we bring aliens out?
Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense. I was on an airplane flying from Florida for New Year's Eve, and I was about to go into the laboratory, is what they call it, right? And make lab. I don't know, use the restroom. But the lady says, well, you need to sit down because the pilot said we're going to come into some turbulence. And I'm like, okay, cool. But could you imagine? And we know FAA is talked about it, or yeah, but could you imagine that you get off the plane because of disclosure, everyone, you get handed a brochure and said, okay, that little bumpity bump up there, it was because the UAP flew over the plane. Yeah, it messed up a little instrument panels, but we didn't crash. But because of disclosure, you need to know every time this happened or before you board the plane. And they give you a brochure. Oh, well, yeah. Hey, by the way, the last flight, there was some encounters up there, but because you want disclosure, you want to really know what's happening up here in these skies, there was a little ordeal, but just a little scratch. Don't worry about it. The plane landed safely and everybody on board was okay. Do we want that? Do we really want that day? Do you want it? I don't want it.
Don't you want it?
I don't want it. It's just stuff you just don't want to know. It's almost like a personal thing. I don't know. I was married once. I don't want to know if you cheated. Keep it to yourself. I need some sleep. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. Just keep it to yourself. Oh, really? You got it off your chest now? You can sleep. I can't sleep. No, one of those things. Keep it to yourself up there. I'm okay.
Well, you know what? Your point does make a lot of sense. It really does because, I say the same thing about Bigfoot. Do we really need to know if Bigfoot is in the forest? Do we really need to know? I mean, you look at, where I live in BC, man, we're surrounded by forests. My
Right.
area is filled with loggers and miners.
Mm.
And if Bigfoot is found, I was talking to a guy in the Canadian government about this, and he stated that, let's say, for instance, Sasquatch is found 100% proof. That area is now cordoned off. They
Mm.
expand the area because now they have to figure out the habitat, the way it moves. Does it hibernate? Does it move with the rest of the animals from lower elevations in the winter to higher elevations? They got to figure out the food sources. They need to figure out where it's bedding down. They need to figure, is it drinking out of certain creeks or lakes or whatever. There is a lot of environmental issues that have to take place for a brand new creature of that size. And
Mm.
that means you got to shut down tourism dollars because you can't go hunting, fishing, camping in that area. You got to shut off the logging areas, which is going to cost these loggers millions of dollars because they've had that land secured for usually a few years for logging. And the mining, you have to shut that down too, plus
Yeah.
whatever else goes on in that area, right? Like it's not just, oh, there it is, and hey, we found it. It's not like that. There is economic impact on everything that we do.
I agree with you. I think, and it just goes to everything, even the technology. It's almost like I think we've said it before. We don't see any UFOs stop for gas, so obviously they're using a technology that we don't have. But imagine the implications of we get that technology and there's no more fuel, needed. You're talking a world calamity collapse, because global oil is global. You're talking a 747 who flies off that stuff is no longer is like worth billions of dollars because it's useless, right? It flies off from fuel that free energy. Now we got free energy to make things that work. So all of this stuff is pretty, and it makes me, Dave, when we think about that basic question, how come the ATs just don't show themselves? Well, if you think they have higher intelligence, which they do, and they do understand our way of life, which they do, then why would they disturb us like a pile of ants? And all of a sudden, knowing you're talking religion, you're talking all these things. If one of them was to just pop out and say, "Hi, I'm Akbar," they smarter than that.
What do you think when you look at the US government and the way they are treating us in the UFO field or those who have a curiosity of this field about holding back information and really controlling the narrative?
Well, I mean, we work for them. And let me say why we work for them. We spent the last 60, 70 years telling everybody and our followers, don't believe the big secret keepers. That's what we call them, so I don't get in trouble talking government, right? And then the big secret keepers it's just a metaphor for whoever want to private contractors, anybody in the place that's keeping a big secret from us. But at the end of the day, when you think about the government, we work for them in such a way that we spend all this time telling people not to trust them, don't believe them, don't they hiding, and all of a sudden now they trying to put out information, and the same public is saying, "Nah, they lying, there ain't nothing up there," or it is. They're not telling, and so it's like a double-edged thing, and it's like they one step ahead of us. They're one step ahead of us, and we need to try to maneuver in front of this thing, and I don't know how we can do that.
But the brilliancy and the big thing that they have going on in their world when it comes to this is the mainstream media hasn't hooked onto this story. The mainstream media still refuses to cover this story as a legitimate topic outside of a very few people like the New York Times or Tucker Carlson on Fox News. The rest of them, and trust me, it drives me nuts because Tucker, like I've said this many a time on this show, Tucker Carlson has one of those faces that you just want to hit. You know, you just want to punch him. But I give the guy credit for not dropping the ball on the story, even though he's never really gone in depth with some questions that he should do. But then again, he's not a journalist. He's just a television personality.
And he's a smart one. Tucker knows that this is an ice cap that can melt or crack with too much weight. He just slides across it just enough to keep his viewers interested, advertisers. It is, he does make money with what he does. I think, that he has a way of kind of just slipping it in there. But you got to understand, now we get into the conspiracy talk of secret societies, the Bilderberg Group. All these people are handling the media. So it's way up there that we get the point where this stuff is controlled, the narrative, when it comes down to this. So we shouldn't be surprised of how they want to unveil and every now and then pick a hero like Tucker or somebody say he's the hero, he's talking about it because he is one of the most vocal. So if they had a private group, he said, I'm the one, I can talk about it a little bit, and the rest of y'all can't. I don't know. I'm just, and it's not a conspiracy, y'all. But the whole point is the narrative is being controlled. It's always been controlled. And we just puppets when it comes down to their information. And so even now, I just watch them and laugh. That's, because we're not going to get what everybody's running around for. I think we just need to play the game, pay attention to them, Dave, and just have some fun.
Do you think there's a threat? We keep hearing about this threat narrative. Do you think there's an actual threat out there?
My scenario, and I'm speaking a lot of analogies. Okay. And I think I did talk to you before, if not, but I don't want to be at my house looking across the street, see some little red eyes. And when I arm my alarm system, it waves its hand and it disarms. And I'll arm it back. He disarms it again. Okay, he never come in my house. He never did. But should I not be worried about that? Should I not be worried that he has some type of technology to do something? Just because he hadn't done it doesn't mean he's not ready. So yeah, I think just like insurance, everybody pay in case you have a wreck. You ain't doing it because you're going to have one. We need to have that side of our military to be ready, and then on the other side, okay, if they never do something, that's okay. But I really want us to be ready. That's how I think about it.
See, for me, I think it's the idea that threat narrative comes with a lot of zeros at the end of a budget. We look at the creation of Space Force. We look at the extra money that they are going to get, saying, these are a threat to our skies, and we need to have some money in order to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna follow the money, and there's your guy. Yep, we sat down and had a good old burger. Me and the guy here, and yeah, we had a good time and had some great information. I think it's like the money. I mean, let me just say it. As I know, and everybody's getting in on it. NASA stayed so far away from this thing; it was ridiculous. until somebody had a meeting and said, hey, they're giving out money. And asked to go, we in. And so it's about the money. It's about the money.
Oh, very true. Let's get to our first question of the night. This from Atlantis is found in our chat room. And he goes, hi, Roderick. It's the guy you met with about Atlantis. What more have you heard about aliens showing up this year?
There's always been this undertone of, this false flag operation on one hand of the fence to bring nations together. There was this time that the Israeli prime minister guy, whoever was over his UFO program, right before there was a change in our, presidential election, said, the ETs now feel that it's time for them to reveal themselves. So I don't think, there's always been an undercurrent that they're coming. We're going to have disclosure, and that's real disclosure, by the way. That is the only disclosure. Is one of them park and get out. That's the one word. And it's lights out after that. Because once one of them do that, ain't nobody interested in nothing else the government does. Who cares? That's disclosure. And when that happens, we will have disclosure.
I don't think it's that easy. I really don't.
You mean for them to show up or for it to be
for
over?
the aliens? I don't think even if they did show up, I mean, look, we know they've showed up. Look at Holloman Air Force Base, the video.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Undebated show up, where they can just freely get out and walk around to the mall. Now that kind of show up, right? Yeah.
Now, apparently that did used to happen in Las Vegas at the Sahara. Really? Going back, they'd land their craft at Area 51, hop on a bus and go party at the Sahara for the weekend. I'm not making this up. I believe Charles Hall, legendary researcher, is the one who investigated that. But I know, Roderick, I'm just going to put it out there right now. We're having our Vegas party May 19th to 21st at the Golden Nugget. All aliens are allowed to come.
Well,
I'll cover the cost.
This is where I was doing some research, and we were getting reports. And I have a guy, he's a authentic reptilian channeler. He's in your neck of the woods. And one of the stories we talked about was the fact that, they like to hang out in Vegas. They like having, sex with people. And it's like this their thing. It makes them, it's their adrenaline. And they can blend in because ain't enough people recognizing anything down there. You know what I mean? So doesn't surprise me. And if I was an ET from somewhere else and you just really want to blend in with everyone, Vegas will be the spot.
Oh, you got that right. Absolutely. Let's get to another question from our audience here. This one coming from Vaughn in Edmonton, Alberta. At what point do the two of you feel we will be ready for full disclosure? We got about a minute left. I'll get to your answer first. Roderick will carry over mine.
I don't think we'll ever be ready, like you said, because it's just too much, peeling back all those layers from religion to all the different cultural lens. It's just so big when it comes down to everything. But I think the preparation has begun on the government side. Is why they're literally slipping in these little stories, because one reason only, we can talk about after the break, the new space economy. That's why.
Yep, it's all about the gold that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
We need more gold. We need more everything. We need more Roderick Martin on this show.
I'm here
because he is that good. We love you. Roderick Martin is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's from the YouTube channel Why the Big Secret. If you want to go hit subscribe on that. When we come back, we'll get into more UFOs, aliens, all the stuff that secrets hold in the paranormal realm. That's what we do around here. Tonight's a fun show. We're going to take more audience questions early and often. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back after this. All right, we're clear. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Deb from SAC, Louis, Atlantis, and Juan ×2 for the super chats. Volpe Azura, nice to have you back. And first time I have ever had that I know of somebody in our chat room from Romania.
Oh,
Doru Silviu. Hold on, I can pronounce this. Raducanescu. Raducanescu, or is it Raduch? No, the syllable will be on the second. Raducanescu. I think I got it right. Raducanescu. That is awesome, right there. From Romania. First time somebody from Romania has been in our chat room. I'm excited. I love it when new people from different countries come in. Because that's what I got to put up my board here. I got this for Christmas, dude. I still haven't put it up. But it's a pegboard map of the world, so I can track where everybody comes from for our show.
Oh, I thought you would track the UFO sightings. That thing is just painted red, period.
No, I got to put that up.
Yeah.
Van Gogh, how you doing? Peter Leibel, how are you? Who else do we have?
We have Girl from the Bay. She watches our shows, and so welcome. She's one of our insiders as well over at Why the Big Secret. So she's here.
Who's that?
Girl from the Bay in your chat.
Girl from the Bay. I didn't see her.
Oh yeah. See, this is how you see her. $5 super chat, Girl from the Bay. Show them the secret. Why the Big Secret.
Deb from SAC.
Pop
Deb
it
from
up
SAC.
on the screen.
Look at Cable Guy jumping up. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Yes. I think it's the first time Malaysia has been in here. That's exciting.
It's a way to make yourself known there.
Thank you for the super chat, Cable Guy. Now, are you like Cable Guy Matt, where you will autograph free pieces of coaxial cable for us? Please let us know.
Whoa. There we go. All the good stuff.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Where are we here? West Coast, nice to see you.
Yep, you guys check it out.
And Pixie Lara, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, my dear. Well, can't wait to see her in Vegas.
Paranormal Pixie. Much love.
If you want to come, Roderick, if you want to come, you're more than welcome.
To
come
Vegas?
Join us. Yeah, May 19th to 21st.
Huh. May 19th.
For our fan party.
All right, might come down there and check y'all out. But anyway, Paranormal Pixie, thank you so much.
Nina Williams from Grand Junction, Colorado. Welcome to SOR Chat. Yeah, good reminder by Jenny here. Do me a favor. My eyes aren't that good when it comes to the small print. Make sure you put your questions in capital letters so that way I can get them to Rod and myself very quickly here. And Forrest Louis, thank you for another super chat, my man. Appreciate it. You ever want to have a good guest on your show? Eugene Braxton.
Okay, all right.
My man Eugene here. He is like a brother to me. He's been a listener of mine for nearly 8 years, and he wrote a book about the near-death riddle. He is brilliant. One of the deepest thinkers I've ever had on the show. Love the man.
Forrest Louis, appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. And, Dave, I think you and I are in a little synchronicity. It's kind of like we like sheep. You done shaved down your wool. I shaved down mine yesterday. And it's like, somebody don't shave the beard. No, it's like sheep. We got to shave the wool.
You know that, right? Yours is
And
much nicer than mine, though. Yours is nice and thick. I got patchy sides. Pam Smith,
mine,
thank you for the super chat.
mine is thick because of the foundation of fat. That's the foundation.
On that note, hold on, buddy, because we're coming back in like 5 seconds.
All right.
Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you, if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Roderick Martin from the great YouTube channel, Why the Big Secret? We're talking about all the secrets that are being hidden. And right before the break, we were asked by Vaughn about what we need or when or how disclosure will happen. Rod, let's continue with you on this one. You say that you don't ever see it happening, or at least not for the near future, at least. I would love for you to elaborate on that.
Well, like I said, I don't see it happening because it's just too many moving parts of this thing, from technology, control of technology. But what people really don't really understand is what is the missing element in all of this. It's almost like, I hold a secret and everybody wants it, and is Roderick is going to tell or whatever. And I can change all of that by simply just saying, here is the big secret. It's the extraterrestrials. They could have showed up and talked, out loud. We know they're behind the scenes negotiating, right? That's the rumor, but they're just not doing it. And we want to say, are they here to save us? Are they here to do these things? And disclosure is they are the ones in control. It ain't got nothing to do with our government. If they wanted to, take those fast moving bogey crafts and 5 of them go over here in 5 seconds, 6, they can outmaneuver us fast enough to land so the whole world know they're here if that's what they wanted to do. And I don't think collectively that's what they want. And they can care less about me saying, I can't wait till you guys show up and holding my sign. They're opening up. That's not happening. I don't know. I hope that's serious enough for everybody to just say, look, we just got to hang on and we got to press the issues from our end, find some answers, reveal the truth to our truth seekers ourselves. And then hopefully we can connect the dots. And then we say, hey, we know where they are. Now we got y'all. So there we go.
It's just that simple. See, for me, like I said, I'm more of a believer in confirmation than disclosure.
Yeah.
Disclosure to me, we need to know everything that is hidden in that Pandora's box. We need to know, like, for instance, let's take something recent, and it has nothing to do with UFOs, but the B-21 that they just announced like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's face it. If that aircraft is allegedly brand new, what are they hiding that isn't, that we don't see? Now, I have no source on this or anything, but I will almost guarantee you that bomber's probably been flying for at least 10 years.
It's probably
at
been
least
longer than that. Let me look and see.
Yeah. I mean, because remember, people, the F-117 stealth fighter, the Nighthawk, that was in service for about 9 years before it came out publicly due to Jim Goodall's photograph of it. And that is a big push there. We don't get to see the new toys. They don't allow us to see the new toys.
I got these books, Dave, from I forget the guy's name. He did article.
Jim Goodall.
Yeah.
That's Jim
And
Goodall.
yeah, and all of these are full colors of things, and it's like I'm seeing stuff in these things like, where in the heck did that come from? And it's been around. So what we might see with our eyes are probably 50 years, uh, they're already 50 years ahead. And so they don't care about us seeing something that is flying around right now. Like you said, it's the stuff that's already put up in another room somewhere that's flying around. And I think it's one of those things. Roderick is far more than a dime each of my years. Just sub it up. Okay. What's up, Steve?
You're gaining some subs tonight, man.
You know what?
You're gaining
You
some
know what?
subs.
And I want to share something with your audience if you let me.
Please.
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you let me. You my man. You my hero, Dave. You my hero.
Hey, hold on a second here. You've now been on this show like 3 or 4 times. I
Mhm.
don't recall getting an invite to the Roderick show. I don't recall that.
Because the big fish eat the little fish. You know how that works.
You're going to tear me apart.
You're the big fish, and when you call, like you text me, okay, I get emails and say, okay, you want to book you here. Ancient Aliens called and said we want you at 11 to 1 Tuesday night, and I'm like, hell no, I'm on Dave's show. What the hell y'all talking about? You get what I'm saying? The big fish eat the little fish. They can wait. They can wait, and they're waiting. They're waiting right now. So I'm here, spaced out radio. So no, but I tell you what, you want to come on the show? We can do it. On Tuesday nights, I'm over at Forbidden Knowledge TV. So I just finished that live stream, and that audience usually, it's a pretty big channel. So I have about 1,500 people watching, but we talk. But you can come over there, because if you come over to Why the Big Secret, it's going to be a big secret for right now, because I'm a little small channel, and nobody's going to know Dave is there except for us.
I'd still do it.
You still do it?
Still do it.
Well, hell yeah, then. All right, you coming on the show. Now, payback is different. So, I'm going to have you on my show during the daytime, so you're going to have to, it's probably your nighttime like it is like 1 a.m. for me. So I know you'll be there. Go Dave. But I want
to on a Thursday.
Okay.
It's on a Thursday.
You see that, y'all. You see the big dog dictated his date now. See me, he tells me what day. Ed, that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how you hear him say, long as it's on a Thursday. Now I'm limited to Thursday. Then he's gonna say, long as it's on a Thursday when the moon shines at such and such angle at this such and such time.
Very true.
Yeah. And only when Bigfoot comes back with my coffee, he's gonna say, just all the restrictions. But no, we'll have you there. So I have been working on this thing, and it's up, and I want you to check it out. It's called Truth Seekers Community. It's like have you heard of Mighty Network? They have this little app, and it's the new, and it doesn't cost anybody to be a part of it, but I'm trying to rattle all our truth seekers together where they could have a place to have conversations outside of where it's uncensored, and in there it's that it's got all these spaces: Bigfoot, the paranormal, Anunnaki, all of these other things. And so they can go to truthseekers.com, go in there, start the conversations with people. And then I just announced Project Black. Dave, I'm sure you want to hear about that. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, go for it. I got time for you.
Okay, Project Black is an acronym, and it stands for the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge, but it's not an exclusion of anybody else from indigenous story. It's just that now that I've been doing this long enough, I found that there is a disproportionate of stories in our community, and there's a lot of reasons why, based on religion, how people perceive it, and I was just kind of do a history check. And so when I started Project Black, just now announced it just about 2 or 3 days ago, and includes people like you, and all of us, because we're ufologists. This is history for all of us, but there is a segment of population where there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of same abductions on the same boats, same military, but you don't hear those stories. You just do not hear them in my community because it's like taboo. And if you go back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, where there was a lot of desegregation and racism, it was really high, in the police, Dave, was where the reports would come into, What African American, you got the KKK, you got all that, would have walked in there and said, "Oh, by the way, I got abducted and I saw UFOs." So this is why that whole history is blank because of that. And it was already treating white people, like, and you imagine that us looking like, whoa, wait a minute, and so this whole thing has made a huge gap in stories that we can find together, we can find and bring forward, and just add more to what we're gotten here with ufology and the community of consciousness and all those things. And so I started that initiative and hoping more people just get on board to understand. And the tagline is "Start the conversation." That's all we got to do. So if you guys have friends and whether it's in other communities, I know they understand that. And if you got Black friends and you try to talk about ETs, it's just not happening. And so I got to bring those stories out, Dave, and I'm gonna bring them out.
Love it. Love it. Anything we can do to help you out, support that. Let's do that, man.
Cool. I appreciate it. And like I said, it's not and I'm not even going to use the word, I'll say it, diversity. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's just us as a collective. We now see there's a gap of disproportionate and representation, because most people want to go to people that they can trust and see. And it's not too many people out there doing what I'm doing in my community yet. So all of that stuff is like, and I just want the stories for us, Dave. I want more stories for us. And that's what
I have a beautiful lady for you to meet up with. I met her through my man Roy Washington, who has a really cool podcast called The Quest out of Milwaukee.
Okay.
And he's myself and my buddy Merle were on his channel one night, and I met this lady named Sheila Kitchens.
Okay.
And Sheila messaged me just before Christmas. She's like, "Dave, I think it's time for me to tell my story publicly, and I really want to tell it on your show." And I'm like, "You pick a date." She is amazing.
Well, bring her on.
Amazing storyteller.
Bring her on.
I will get her to you. I will get her to you.
Hey,
that is for sure.
Hello to my boy KG. He's from a whole nother country. He's in there. He's on your show tonight. He's in the yeah. KG is from I think, what is it, South Africa somewhere? Yeah. He's here.
Oh, let me know so I can put that on the board. Hi, KG.
Welcome
to the channel, man. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you. Let us know where you're from, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here. Pam would like to know, Roderick, what do you believe happened to Travis Walton?
He saw a UFO. He was abducted. I mean, I believe in his story. I believe in now we all, and let me say this for him and Pam. Now that we're getting more of these evidence, I did a show with Robert Salas, Captain Salas. He was the Minuteman in the Maelstrom Air Force Base. And the one thing he said was, Roderick, if I'm going to leave you with anything, trust the witnesses. And see, we didn't do that before. So when you got Travis Walton telling his story, and his stories don't change, it's pretty authentic. And because I run that thought of, I believe you believe, and what happens is, but basically answer your question, yes, there's some truth in his story, because it is not uncommon what happened to him, and more people are coming up forward with these types of experiences. And it's only now that we got the Whistleblowers Act, we think we're going to get some more stuff, and I hope we do. And that's a whole nother horse of another color there, Dave, we can talk about. But yes, Pam, sorry for the long answer. I'm so sorry. I just talked too much. I know Dave want to shut me up. He can cut my mic.
No. They're here to see your beautiful face and your dulcet tones. Just do me a favor, Barry White. Just say, let's just kiss and say goodbye.
Let's just kiss and say goodbye.
I'm going to tell you right now, that is one of my favorite songs.
I don't even know the song. I just did your song.
Oh
yeah, I think I remember that. But Dave,
Barry White.
That's an old song, Dave. How old are you?
You know what? I'll be 50 this year.
Well, shit,
I'll
I'm
be
only
50.
you, and I don't remember the song. I'm sorry, we on radio. Sugar Honey Iced Tea. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I'm 52, and I'll be 53 next month. No, March. Yeah, March 10th. I just want y'all to know. So come on and super chat that day.
March 10th. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be there. We are going to be there. Let's just kiss and say goodbye.
Okay.
Is by, hold on, where is it here? Why can I not remember the name?
Let's just kiss and say goodbye.
Barry White was in the group.
Yeah, but I thought it was a lady.
Manhattans. The Manhattans.
Well, that wasn't Barry
Kiss
White.
and say goodbye. Barry White was in the Manhattans.
Was he?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's cool. All right. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. And
never go wrong.
50s is the new 50s. I just want y'all to know.
It's true.
Mhm.
It's true. All right. Another question coming at you, my man, from Travis. Now, Travis is a cool dude. You want to get into First Nation stuff, Travis is the guy to do this with.
Okay.
He goes and fights aliens on the astral realm. He goes, I feel disclosure in full can never be achieved. There are species that will never reach us, and we will never exist long enough to reach those beings far, far away. What's your thoughts on that, Roderick?
Well, I mean, Travis, I'm with you, and then I'm gonna lean to the left, okay? But we're on the same page, though, okay? You and I. I don't think it's about species that are far away that we'll never see. I don't think disclosure is that, because all it's going to take is just one species, one that says I'm from where planet Xeon, and then we ask him, who is their god, and the whole world changes after that. But so there probably is planets in other solar systems and galaxies that's so far away. Yeah, I mean, so it is that never-ending story when we get down to disclosure. And so I think what we have to do, and Travis, I'll be interested in everybody in the audience, type what is disclosure to you, and let me and Dave see that, because I think we have to at some point come together with a one lane for the word disclosure and what we want, because I think it's like Christmas. Everybody wants the different toy, but yet we calling it a toy, right? So let's see what everybody wants, Dave. Y'all, everybody, take the time, work with us. Tell us what disclosure is to you. And I guarantee you we're going to see a whole bunch of different things, Dave. Let me know.
I would agree with you. I mean, but first, I mean, I think the exciting thing for me is to see, if we live long enough to see it, I'd like to know how many different species of ET are living in our solar system alone. I mean, we're walking on Mars or underground at Mars or on Venus, like the Venusians, like the White House guy, Valiant Thor. We hear it all. We hear it all. Planet X, the Orion's belt with the Anunnaki. I want to know it all, man. I want to know it all. All right, let's get to another question here as they continue to pile up. Jenny is asking, Roderick, which cryptids do you think were developed by the military? Oh, I love this question. Jenny going all out with this one.
Me too, because it's like one of them tongue twisters. I don't know. I think it's things that we haven't seen. And here's a true story. I have a lady, and I can't tell her name, but she was working with a company, and she accidentally, and I know exactly the name of the company, she told me, she accidentally opened up a file, and in that file, she saw these different spaces where it was a biotech company, and they had in there different types of cryptids and different stuff. So, and they was part of a military stuff. So, who knows, what they're conjuring up these days when they got the recipe to do whatever they want and the money to cook them up, and we don't know about. So, it could be some stuff we just don't know. And I couldn't answer that. So, that's when you just say, I don't know. I should have said that in the beginning. I'm sorry. I should have just said, I don't know.
No, I think you answered it perfectly. I really do. And, it's tough to think. I mean, there's been some weird monsters, that have washed up from the sea. I mean,
Yep.
what was that one on, on Long Island there, where it looked like a pig, but it had like an eagle's beak on it.
Yeah. And that, like the Allen of Dr. Moreau stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so we don't know what's really happening, and we would never know until, once again, but that goes back to Jenny, where we have, I think we got two factions in the government right now. We have one side that says, okay, we're not telling y'all nothing, and the other side's trying to go disclosure. But make no mistake about the game, everyone. Both sides have took an oath to defend the United States. So whenever something comes through the pipeline and they want to say this is national security, they both are going to agree to hide the same thing. Although we think we got heroes over here. So it's not, it's like the game is so that goes to special objects and creatures and things that they hiding technology. uh so it's just, and so we got this whistleblowers act, and we thinking, okay, we're gonna hear some stuff. um but I think the whistleblowers act was the protection that we saw happen in Las Vegas at that Dreamland thing or whatever, the guy where they raided his house, no knock warrant. That was the test right there. So I don't know. You know, we gotta be careful, Dave. You and I, we got targets, man.
We totally got targets.
Yeah, and we big targets.
Totally got
You know,
targets.
we're big, easily seen targets. I know.
All you got to do is offer us a taco.
Yes.
We're coming out from behind the trees, man.
Wait, Dave, don't do that. We need two tacos, because one taco is like a bone is just a bone, and two lines says one of them got to have it. You and I would break brotherhood over one taco, because you don't want it, I want it. Tell them two tacos. That's what I would say for us. Two tacos, my man. Two tacos.
4 tacos, actually, because once you eat the first one, you're going to want the follow-up. We need 4 tacos.
We'll take 4. Why not ask for 8? Why not ask for everything? Give a mouse a cookie. They're going to want a glass of milk. Let's do it.
8 tacos it is. We got 2 minutes before we're going to go to break here. Let's get in another question. We got Joe from Brazil. Roderick, do you believe we are close to a big encounter that will change the view on UFOs?
Yes, I think we're going to have more data and information, because it's just, technology is changing. Our own, technology with people having cameras in their hand, and the frequency of these things is flying around anyway. So they're there. So like the government said, oh, we track 500. Well, I'm with MUFON. We get 300 a month. That's in Texas. So yeah, I think we're going to have something big. I can't predict to say, okay, it's going to be disclosure, but we're going to get closer to seeing better footage of these objects. That's what I would say.
I want to know why we haven't had anything really since the Phoenix Lights.
You mean like something that big?
Something that big.
Hmm.
I mean, there is just so much out there that we could be doing and could be seeing, and maybe we've missed it. Maybe it's been covered up. Maybe it just hasn't happened in North America. But it seems like we're due for another mass sighting.
Well, I mean, I think we could, if technology is different. I mean, it's like, and I know Richard Dolan corrected me on this, but I was like, you know what? We used to see flying saucers back in the 50s, and now we got orbs and all that. But it's no different than us having a 1957 Chevy. We ain't driving those no more. We got new Escalades, right? Or whatever technology has changed. And maybe they're using different technology. Maybe they now have advanced cloaking, so they're there. We just can't see them. And then, we always go into the vibration of things. And so just so much have changed since the first of them. And then Phoenix Lights, that was just one of those deals.
Roderick Martin from the ever electric Why the Big Secret on YouTube. You want to hit subscribe to that channel. We got to help him get to 10,000 subscribers here quick. Spaced Out Radio will continue with audience questions and topics of all the secrets surrounding the paranormal. We'll be right back right after this. All right, we are clear.
All right.
Let's see here. Do you want to stay in the chat room? I'm going to take a quick break here. Do you want to take a quick break? Be back in a couple minutes.
I don't have any candy bars. I don't have Twix. Is Twix or was it the other? What's the one with the break? Remember the commercial? Take a quick break. Tic Tac bar. Kit Kat bar. No, I don't have it. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, I will take a break. I'll go get something real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm going to put you in the green room. I'll be right back too, people. We'll be right back. All right. I am back. Let's bring Rod back.
All
How you
right.
doing, buddy?
All right. I'm here.
I'm good. Let's see here. Scrub it up, Dub. How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you back. And Bobby Chizzy, how you doing? And let me see if I'm missing any more questions. Don't think that I am. All right, back to the bottom. All right. We got just over a minute here, bud. Just over a minute.
Okay, we're good.
All right, let's hide that one. Make sure you put your questions in capital letters so I can get them to Rod and myself. It's all about you guys tonight. Let's just make it happen. Make it happen.
Yep, I'm with you.
Thank you, Christine. By the way, Christine, I think you're in the San Francisco area. I will be in San Francisco March 17th through 19th for UFO Con. Yeah, so you might want to check that out, anybody in the Bay Area. Mark Ellens, how you doing? Jim Morris, good to see you. Thank you to our super chatters, Juan and Juan, makes two. Atlantis, Louie, Deb, Cable Guy, Lara, Louie again, Pam, and Steve. Thank you so much for the love. And don't forget Vegas. Check the ticker below. We want to see you all there. Here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has hit the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Galericulate. Galericulate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Roderick, our man, Roderick Martin, is back. And he has a great YouTube channel. Why the Big Secret is what it's called. We encourage all of you to go hit subscribe on that channel because he talks about the very things we do here on Spaced Out Radio, and he gets more in-depth with the secrets that we all want to know. Roderick, welcome back, my man.
I'm glad to be here. I didn't go anywhere, though, Dave. So welcome back. I didn't go anywhere.
Well, I just appreciate you hanging on out, I really do.
I wouldn't say I don't have another place to go is the only reason I'm here because I don't have nowhere else to go, but I'm here because I'm here with you, man. We here because we here for the audience and everyone else to talk
that right.
Stuff. So keep it coming. Let's go.
All right. Let's get right to an audience question. Let's go to Rags to Itches. What about those huge black triangle ships? Whose are they? And by the way, did you see that latest video that played allegedly it was taken from the International Space Station, where they actually show 3 black triangles flying across the cloud cover facing Earth? It's an amazing video.
I haven't seen it. Where can I find it?
I'm gonna bring it up here. I have it here somewhere. Let me grab it, and we'll put it on for fair use. On this, we'll put it up for fair use. So hopefully we don't get copyright stricken on it. But this video, it's from another YouTube channel, and I'm gonna credit them from UFO News. Okay, from UFO News. And let me just bring it up. So for our radio audience, what we're doing here is we're bringing up a video from a YouTube channel called UFO News that brought up this real interesting footage of these triangles taken from the International Space Station. And so the space station's looking down on Earth, and then you see these 3 black triangles just go racing by.
Wow.
Now, whether this is real, the footage was brought to you by UFO sightings footage, and we are crediting under fair use here. These 3 black triangles just go absolutely racing by. They look like shark teeth, to be
Now, can we
blunt.
pull that ourselves somewhere?
Pardon me?
Can we find them? I mean, it's public, right?
It is public, yeah.
Yeah. So we should.
I'll put the link. I'll put the link in our chat here for you, in our private chat on
almost
StreamYard.
Almost look like Top Gun. You know, that ship that
Yeah.
he was flying in.
I'll play it one more time. I mean, these things are going fast. Like the original footage, these things are blurry. Okay, and it's not until you're slowed down that you see the 3. I mean, this is just incredible footage. Once again, using it under fair use practices here on Spaced Out Radio. But what's your thoughts on this video?
Well, I mean, again, from NASA viewpoint, something that high. So we want to look at, okay, how high up was this? Because, if it was space, what we looking at and how close it looks to be, I can't say that close, but it looks like it's above atmosphere. If that's the case, then we're talking something totally different, spacecraft. But regardless, it's triangle shape. We don't see any wings and tails. So therefore, it's some tech that we need to really figure it out. So I'm intrigued. That's why I was like, oh, where do you find it at? Because if it's public knowledge, then we should be able to see that footage too, and then begin to do our own observation as well.
I have a buddy of mine, well, more of an acquaintance. I shouldn't call him a buddy.
Oh, I was going to say, if he's a buddy of yours, he's a buddy of mine. Now,
he used to work at Area 51.
Well, he's a buddy of all of ours, Dave. Come on.
Yes.
Make him a buddy.
All I'm saying is, Roderick, come to Vegas to our fan party.
You can give him 2 of my tacos. Okay, I'm gonna take one for the team.
I'll tell you what. He's a pretty big guy. We're just gonna extend the order to 12 tacos now.
Yeah, that's my man. All right. So I'm
I'm not stealing your tacos back. But you know what? He believes that, and he has to be careful with what he says because of his NDAs. Okay, but he believes that these black triangles are ours. He believes they're ours.
I probably can concur with that. That's why I asked right there. If depending on the height of where they was flying, then we can assume if it was just above the clouds, but yet that was zoomed in, then yeah, that's going to be some human tech, and they're zipping their way through. So that's fine. We got that. But if it was up in space, then moving like that, and I would think it's something else. So yeah, we just got to determine where this is happening. So
the question is, where do they park them?
The question is, why is it secret? That's the question. Why the big secret?
Well, that goes with any of the tech. I mean, if you go back to Ben Rich, former head of Lockheed Skunk Works, where he said we have the technology to bring ET home again, and that we're 50 to 80 years ahead. That puts everything in the air as obsolete. 747s, obsolete. 787s, obsolete. Anything by Boeing right now, obsolete. Anything by Airbus, obsolete.
I can agree.
Puts it all obsolete. I mean, you look at those aircraft, they're definitely flying at a hypersonic speed. They're not flying at a U-2 type speed of like 500, miles an hour, nautical miles an hour. Those things were cruising.
True that. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's why I said we got the technology. Because, again, when you looked at the Maverick thing, that whatever that plane that they was testing was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
that's the alleged, the Dark Star is the alleged Aurora.
Okay. So imagine now we seen it in a movie. Imagine what they have above that now that's moving around. So, Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I can't wait till the iPhone 22 comes out. They probably already got it ready, you know. So
Right?
who knows? Yeah.
Right. All right, let's go to another question here from our audience. Let's go to Nina, who is asking, and first time in our chat room. Thank you, Nina.
Okay.
What about the James Webb Telescope? It could see a lot of things. I would love to see them focus the James Webb Telescope on some of the planets around here to see if there is life. I really would.
Nina, that telescope is like your car. It's going to go in the direction you want to drive it. And so wherever they want it to go is only what we're going to see. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We
That's
can't have silence on radio.
Travis is wondering, Roderick, what's your thoughts on alien underwater bases?
I don't have any thoughts on underwater bases, but underwater civilization, maybe is what you want to say. I believe that there's some civilizations there. I believe that we know that Earth is 73% water. We know that mankind has possibly maybe explored 3 to 4% of that. We know that our technology doesn't allow us to get to the total depths in some of those areas in a more fluent way. We might have something we can drop down there and maybe open up. We know that UFOs are transmedium. They're coming from space, air to water. We have nothing to do that. So it's a perfect place for them to be able to set up camp for observation and all of those things. So I go more than just a base. I'm looking at civilization that's there, that's probably been there for quite some time, and it's perfect. So my question's always been, Travis, why are we spending so much time getting off the planet when we can spend enough money and get down there and see what's there? And we should be able to do that. For some reason we don't. And that's the question we need to be asking. Why don't we go down there to answer that question and we going up this way? That's what we need to do.
I think that's a solid answer. And you know what? Talking to my Area 51 guy again, I could tell you this. He believes that we have to focus a search for UFOs underwater.
Yeah.
He really believes that.
It makes so much sense that they know it, right? And we're spending so much money trying to get off the planet. Now, I listened to Elon Musk and some of the things that he was saying. He had a great video recently, an interview with these kids, and he went in hard and answered some questions, except for trying to say, yeah, ET exists. But yeah, we got the money and technology, or not the technology, but we got the drive that we can go down and see what's there. And like I said, the narrative is we know what is there. We don't know how many or how, but the question is why. And make no mistake about it, no matter what the what and the how is, nothing is more important as the why. Why don't we go down there? And nobody's never asked the government that. And nobody said, let's put a bill together and we're going to spend money to build something to go there. We're going this way. And that's deliberative, by the way, I'm sure, because they know what's there. They know we'll hit pay dirt. It ain't no exploration or, exploration. And we're going on expedition to Mars and set up. When we go down to the ocean, we're going down there to knock on the door. They don't want to do that. That's my opinion only.
That's a good opinion. Very, very strong opinion. Roderick Martin is our guest tonight. All right, let's continue on here. And we got another question from Red Panda Koala, our good friend here, who's been a guest on this show. Roderick, what's your predictions for 2023?
I predict that I'm going to lose 100 pounds and I'm going to be a lot smaller when Dave brings me back. And he's going to say, Rod, come on back. Wow, man, look at you. You're getting smaller. Oh, you mean UFO prediction? I'm sorry. I'm just off. I was just thinking about the new me for 2023. I think we're in for. Let me start here. Red Panda Cola. I love this game. I love it, and you hear me call it a game. I'm having a lot of fun. The chess pieces, and to give you a prediction and saying, okay, we're going to have this, this, and this. I don't think any of us could do that because we didn't even think we would be this far even in conversation today. But as you can see, they're still strong enough, the big secret keepers, to deliver a report to the public and say, here, this is all we got. We know there's more there, but nobody's complaining. It should be, how come we ain't down there riding that stuff? You know, we all marching and going, UFO taxes, because that's it. That's the hashtag. We need to do that. And you get other people in your family who don't believe and say, hey, well, did you pay your taxes? Yeah, well, you in on the game too. They taking your money. They're like, what? You know, and so the prediction would be if we come together and force a narrative, then there's no more prediction. It's about absolute. We can get what we want if we come together as one. And ain't nobody, we just can't do that. That's why I said before, and not many participated, Dave. Write what y'all thought what disclosure meant to you, and I guarantee you we're all off. They know they got us scattered out. But if we come together and say disclosure is just give them up, give the ET up, we want to see them, we want to free them, then I guarantee you the game changes. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think the game totally changes, you know, but I mean, we need some honesty and integrity. We need politicians to be having our backs instead of their backs in covering this subject. I like how everybody talks about we need to know what's going on. Well, the public is part of the word we.
Yes.
The government that is elected by the we.
There you and yeah.
And we got to go. We deserve a right to know.
Absolutely.
You know,
be the people.
National security be damned. Military industrial complex be damned.
Absolutely. And, and Dave, like I said before, I got your back. You can march down to Area 51 and you make them open up the door. And if you just can and something happen, I got your back. I'll come back and tell little Dave, Big Dave fought, he fought a good fight, And the fact is, if you said, me and you said, we're going to go down there, how many of our followers will go with us to Area 51 on a mission like that? A mission that we may not return, but we're going all in to get the truth.
We're going in stealth, though. We're going in stealth.
Camouflage all the way. Camouflage all the way. Y'all super chat, because if you find in value in what we talking about, hook Dave up and so that he can get 4 to 12, 16 tacos, because now it's getting pricey.
Yeah, we need at least 16. We need at least 16 answers.
And the cost of tacos is going up. So yeah.
Well, you know what? We'll just, before we do this, because knowing that we're on probably a one-way mission, we'll just rob a Taco Bell. We'll just rob a Taco Bell.
Why don't we just take all the ingredients and we just take a Taco Bell with us? In other words, we make space tacos, spaced out radio, spaced out tacos. I mean, that's a whole new.
Very nice.
That's a whole new business model.
We'll have a cookout right at the gates. And we'll even, we'll even put some extra seasoning in for the camo dudes.
And you get a taco named after you, Taco Dave, Taco Roderick.
Yeah.
We both, we have a branded taco. I don't know. I think mine have more meat than yours in it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I'm Canadian and it's cold at this time of year.
I want to keep the weight up. So, yeah. We talking Texas steak. Everything's big here in Texas, y'all. This is the jumbo state. This is where those UFOs come out to play.
Let's go to Super Crazy Movie Geek. What's the point of having the technology if it's not going to be put to use outside of test runs?
Well, it is put to use. We just don't see it. And test runs has to happen, especially if it's a spacecraft type thing. So in tech is what keeps our countries out of wars, a lot of them, because it's the technology. And that's why the militaries and everybody fight so hard. Whoever gets the tech will win the game. Okay. You better believe that. And so this is why I don't believe it's China. It doesn't believe all this, and not saying that, but any country can put a weapon on something that can go from over here to over there in 2.3 seconds. We'll win the game. You better believe that.
All right. My thoughts on that are in agreement with yours. I'm gonna solve you on that, or side with you on that. You know, they want it for themselves. I'll tell you, some of our audience knows this because I've mentioned this, but Rod, I will tell you this. One of the things I learned from my Area 51 guy is this. Apparently, once a month, they scramble these secret craft out of Area 51, and they go on bombing runs over top of Las Vegas and Los Angeles to test the radar systems to see if their technology will be caught by the current radar. And to this day, they haven't been noticed. So you could be walking down Las Vegas Boulevard, proudly, drinking one of those giant margaritas that come in the 3-foot plastic cups, and not even know that there is a military plane coming down, a secret military plane coming down on you, doing a false bombing run, waiting for Nellis Air Force Range to pick it on up.
Well, I mean,
that's scary.
Yeah. But even if they would pick it up, would they tell? You know what I mean? Would they tell? So if our own government picked up our own stuff, now we riding past China, Russia, and we testing it, that's a whole different ball of wax. But riding over our own country, what kind of validation is that anyway? If we pick it up, it's us picking it up, so they're going to cover it up one way or the other, right? So I don't know.
Well, I think that's the point, though.
But what about that thing in Vegas? Remember that there was something in Vegas recently, remember?
Remind me.
There was a UFO that was over the nightclub in Vegas. I ended up interviewing.
That's right. Over Sapphire.
Yeah.
Gentlemen's Club.
Yeah. And so what a place to stop, right? So, if you don't come to Vegas.
You know what?
Yeah.
Our Vegas party, we may have to go investigate Sapphire Club just to make sure.
I got the owner's number. Or the manager who shot the video, we did an interview with him. So when you get down there, he said come and he'll give us some VIP access. So all you got to do is just say, you me, and he'll be like, what? And just say, yeah, you me. And we ate a few tacos and things change a little bit. But we'll get away with the beer because he'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But he did offer free drinks and stuff. So yeah, you can have my dibs.
Excellent. Let's get to another question here. This one from Joseph. Who else would take up an oath of secrecy if you could work at Area 51? I would, he says. How about you, Roderick?
Heck yeah. You know what I'm saying? I would be part of the problem in a heartbeat. It'd be like, Rod, you part of the team that you work for Area 51. Who? What? Area what? Because you got to think about it. It's all about the allegiance to whatever you're doing. And you think about people who have husbands and wives that work for these programs, married, took an oath, but the other one don't even know what the other one does. You get what I'm saying? How divisive can a company come between a relationship of you and your spouse that you won't tell them, oh yeah, by the way, honey, that check we get is from Area 51. So that's the real question. How much of that would you hide from your family, your friends, your children, and everybody that you now took the job and, go to your grave with it just because they said so? I mean, that's the real question, Dave. How much integrity we got for our loved ones? What do you think? Would you take it? How about you? Would you do it?
Oh, hell yeah. I have stated point blank that if the Canadian government came up to me and offered me a job on the Woo desk, in lieu, I had to give up this show, I'm taking the job.
Oh.
I'm taking the job. I want those secrets. I'm selfish that way. I'm a jerk that way.
Oh,
on that note, this jerk is going to take us to break on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Our guest tonight, Roderick Martin, from the ever-popular YouTube channel, Why the Big Secret. Make sure you hit subscribe there. We'll be right back with more audience questions right after this. Look at John Music here.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens like the big booties and big boobs too, yo. Not just us. LOL.
Yeah, shoot. Now, LOL. Real talk.
You got to be serious when you're throwing an LOL there on the end.
Mm-hmm. That's real talk. You can drop that one.
John Music is a real brilliant dude. But you know the best part about him? And he hates it when I say this. I know he's going to roll his eyes. He has this is one of these dudes who his hair and beard are always tight. Always tight.
Wow.
You know, I could never do that. Never do that.
He's not in a world of how strange it's like we are, you know. It's a different story. Yeah.
He is, but he just has I don't know whether he's getting manicured like every 2 days or what. Then
he's a government. He works for the government. He's funded. He's heavily funded. We're this way because we're not heavily funded. But if he's keeping a clean,
we're just heavy.
Yeah, we're heavy.
Just heavy.
If he's keeping a clean shape, he has the funding from one of the Black Ops projects. I guarantee that.
Oh yeah.
Show us the money, brother. Show us the money.
Yeah. He goes, no, I'm a true believer, Roderick.
I'd see him. All right, Jeff. I got you.
I gotta find a picture of. Honestly, he's a good looking dude. He's a good looking dude. I gotta see if I can find a picture of him here. Cool. Where do I find one? John, you're not on Facebook, are you? I know he's on Twitter. No, that ain't him.
Lewis, I'll jump on the taco train. All right, come on. We need a big taco though. Jumbo taco. Anti-gravity taco.
Oh yeah.
That'd be some good.
Now you're talking good. You're talking good language right there.
Just float in our mouth. You know, no, we don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Sit back and just let it go.
Yeah. I have to admit though, Rod, you know, I have being in this 8 years now, I have heard so many stories from, you know, these dinky little podcasts, everything. Their host comes on. Yeah, I got followed by black vehicles. There were black helicopters flying over my house, and my phone kept hanging up on me. You know what? I've been doing this 8 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still pissed off. I haven't got the knock on the door yet. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I mean, and not to say for our listeners, you know, we get that all the time. I'll get somebody to call and it's a cell tower and it disconnects. Say, I told you they're watching me. And I'm like, are you really sure? Yeah. And I like to ask them why, you know, why are they watching you? Well, they can't explain. You know, now if you tell me they're watching you because you got an alien stored in your basement, I'm down with the program. But if they're watching you because you read a couple of blog sites and now you know too much, then I'm watching you. So
yeah, I am. I just want it to happen, just once, a knock on the door, and I have my speech already. Like pay off my mortgage.
Yeah,
pay off my mortgage. We're good. We'll shut her down.
Do some
no
work.
problem.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying El Ovni Volador wouldn't restart a show, but you know, I'm gone. Give me a job on the woo desk. You want me to stop? Give me a job on the woo desk.
Well, woo. I mean, they might just do it though, you know, just to, you know. Are you seriously though? You'll leave all of us hanging like that?
For the right paycheck? Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now y'all give Taco money now. We need Dave to stay here. You know, value. And you know, I was telling my audience the other day, I was like, because every now and then I'll like, you know, share my, you know, real stories and I tell them like, you know, I'm here and I'm here as a server. You know, I'm here to serve you. And then I kind of remind them, I'm like, look, there is no body that I can fill out a job application and say I'm a UFO investigator? Who's hiring us? No one. But yet we are responsible to be here for our audience and people, and we love it. I love it. But I get it. And the only reason that I would probably take a job like that is because, I got a family to take care of, right? You think about those things, but no, I mean, I'm hoping,
Hold on, buddy. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. I very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go, final half hour with our guest tonight, Roderick Martin from the YouTube channel, Why the Big Secret. Make sure you go hit subscribe over there and support his channel as well. Rod, we're going to continue with some audience questions here. Let's go to Brown Dwarf, who is asking, Roderick, your thoughts on the latest Missing 411 documentary?
Do a spoiler alert, but man, that 411 documentary, you're talking about the David Pilates with the UFO connection, if I'm making sure that's correct. And it's really amazing. Number one, because there's two aspects in there that, and just to kind of throw it out there, he's done so many of these documentaries, and finally he's come forward to say, you know what, there could be this UFO connection. But what really challenged, thinking, was not the elf, but the deer stories about this zombie deer and all this stuff that's happening, mad cow disease, and how they seem to be, transporting elk, these extraterrestrials, because there's something out there we don't have a cure. Maybe they're trying to help us. But there was a time traveler, okay, that we got some information from. I did with some other people who claimed that we are going to have an issue years to come with this mad cow thing, but yet, when I watched this 411 after this, and when they start talking about how they are preparing to try to solve this thing that's moving under the radar right now, these and I think he was saying there's places telling them don't eat the deer that you're shooting. I just thought that was amazing to see that was happening, and I'm not even going to talk about the other stories that was in there, but I think it was one of the best documentaries. The guy is really good, and opposed to that one in Brazil where Making Contact, I think that one is off the charts. So we got some good stuff out there.
I think we do too. I like David Pilates. I don't like his business savvy, because he is now limited who he will do interviews with.
Really? Yeah, I've seen him.
Yes.
Too. Okay, so no wonder he never responds. So.
Yeah. And I'm good friends with his publicist, and he is now not doing interviews, because what he does is he goes and does all the interviews, and then he goes and watches the statistics of how many people after that interview buy his book, and if it's not enough to his liking of averages, he doesn't do the show again, no matter if he likes you or not.
Really? Because it did not benefit what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Have you heard of a guy, Michael Horn?
Not a fan.
You're not a fan?
Not a fan.
Why?
Because I think he's tried to exploit the Billy Meyer case a little too much.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you said it. I'm not a fan either. This happened to me about 3-4 days ago. I get an email from Michael Horn's research assistant. Her name is Andrea. That's her name, and I don't mind calling it out. Andrea Logue. So they sent me an email, and it was like, "Hey, you got this guy on Dr. Shipe. He's talking about, on your videos. Well, we would like to be on your show, and here's a list of things, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. All right." When I saw it, but I get a bunch of emails, and you want to vet things like that. Someone want to come on and say this is what's happening. Well, 6 days later, which was 2 days ago, I get an email from her, and I'm gonna read it right here. And now that you said something about him, it says, "Hi, Roderick. This is the email from them that I just get, and you tell me what your thoughts when you hear this. Hi, Roderick. Based on your lack of response, it seems this information is probably too advanced for you and your audience. We withdraw the
No.
request and wish you well, Andrea." I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is how we do it in ufology, where you're going to tell me because I didn't respond to you, it ticks you off fast enough. But now you take a stab and say it's too advanced for you and your audience. And I hope they're not talking about because my audience minorities. Come on, are you kidding me? And I want to call them out, and I think they need to be called out for that. And okay, it was his assistance, but I think everything rises and falls on leadership. So I'm assuming he had to have known that, and there had to have been some arrogance. But they approached me and said, "Hey, we want to be on your show," and because I didn't respond quick enough, I get this email yesterday.
That's horrible.
I was
That's
floored.
horrible.
I was really floored.
That's horrible. Yeah, that's where you put them. We have a banned list here.
Mhm.
My booking team actually knows we have a banned list,
Right.
not a band like
Okay. Yeah.
but an actual BANNED list.
Yeah.
And I remember probably my favorite story that I'd love to tell about this. There was this certain author. I'm not going to mention his name because the guy isn't worth mentioning.
Okay.
And he wouldn't take my phone call because, I try and call or get a hold of somebody before the show to make sure they're all set up, especially if they're new. And couldn't get a hold of him until about 30 minutes before showtime.
Okay.
And he starts hammering me. "Well, have you read my book?" I said, "No, I haven't, but I'm a journalist and I'm going to give you the best interview I can."
Mhm.
And he goes, "Yeah, I doubt that." And I went, "What?" He goes, "No offense, but you're not going to know what we're talking about if you haven't read my book." So I said, "Well, it's not really my job to read your book.
Yeah.
This isn't an infomercial." I said, "But I am going to give you the best interview that you've had regarding this subject." And he goes, big sigh, "Whatever.
Wow.
Let's do the show." And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm about 20 minutes from showtime now. I'm like, "No, let's not do the show.
Yeah.
Let's not do the show." And he goes, "I just told you I would do the show." And I said, "Yeah, and I'm just telling you because and I called him a name, that I have no need to ever do your show or you to ever do this show again."
There you go.
And long story short, 3 years later, I get an email from his publicist saying, "Hey, we would love to get this author on your show. We think his information would be perfect for you." And I wrote a diatribe about what a jerk their client was.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 paragraphs long. And I said, "I have zero interest in ever dealing with him again. He questioned my integrity and my show. He insulted me and my audience, and I'm not ever giving airtime to a waste of oxygen like that."
Yeah. And I'm with you, man. We'll put a list together because this is the second time. I had another lady. I'm gonna give her a pass on her name, but we was gonna interview her, and we sent her our show notes and said, "Okay, can I fill this out?" And her question was, "Y'all must think y'all a big show, like, but yet they want to be guests on the shows." And it's just one of those things. Yeah, we're working to be big, and if we don't act big while we small, then how do we get big? And I'm not talking big
Mhm.
right here, and so it's all about procedure and things, and so it was just kind of crazy. But this one with Andrea, it really struck a chord because it was just like they know who the audience is, and for you to go, this is too advanced for you and or your audience. I'm not going to let this down. I'm going to talk about
Oh,
this.
no.
I'm going to let people know because if this is how they're rolling, and I hope it's just was a naive thing but no, it was deliberate because it was sent and by email, and so I just think it's we deal with enough things out here for people, but if they're that upset because I didn't get back to them fast enough, and yet they approach me to be on the show, and all of a sudden your only answer is, this is too much for you, advanced for you, like I'm some dummy, in my audience, and that's no. I'm going to talk about this for years to come. When I get a big platform, I'm going to call them out. So I just hope it gets back to them. It's coming. I just want them to know.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. I did it with Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
He's on the ban list.
Okay. All right then.
He hit me up. He hit me up for and this is a true story. I still have the email. Okay. He hit me up. He wanted to know all of my numbers.
Okay.
He wanted to know the breakdown between women versus men in age categories.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to know if I would pay him for the interview,
Okay.
which I said no. And then the icing on the cake was he wanted me to present to him the questions prior to the interview.
Wow. Okay.
And I said no. I said I've never done in my 15 years of journalism, 20 years of journalism, I have never provided questions for anybody, nor will I start now. Therefore, you are going to be the first that I ever rescind a radio interview request to, and good luck.
Yeah, I get it.
You have to stick up for your audience. You have to stick up for the woo, man. You have
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, let's get to some more audience questions here. We only got about 12 minutes left. Aliens and UFOs is asking, what ET species do all in the chat know of that the ETs are? What species do you think are out there in ET land? How about you, Roderick? What do you
I got
think?
a book right here that says there's 80 species. Remember the guy, what's his name? Campere book. Yeah. So I don't know.
Is that Craig Campabasso?
Yes, yes. So I have his book here, and he got pictures of them, and he says 80 of them out there. So that's a lot to be understanding who's benevolent and who's malevolent, right? And who's upset with us and who's not, and who looks at us dinner and who looks at us as friends. So I don't think any of us can answer how many species, except for the ones that we do talk about, who seems to be out there. You got your grays, and of course, the reptilians, and you have your insectoids. You get all of these ones that we can talk about, but they can walk right among us and look just like us, and then have perfected their hybrid program, and now we wouldn't know. You wouldn't even know if you were alien now. So that's how good they get, I think.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Let's not forget them sexy blonde Nordics.
There you go. Yeah, and you would do it, won't you, Dave? Captain Kirk did. He did everybody.
I'm going.
That's how I learned my birds and the bees for aliens was through Captain Kirk. Star Trek.
All I'm saying is this bucket list.
Okay, I'm with you.
That's all I'm saying. Bucket list. Let's go to Leafs in 1967, the last time they won the Stanley Cup. Leafs in 67 is asking, thoughts on Tom DeLonge?
You want me to go?
You go.
I don't, when I first really just really was looking at heroes at the time, he was one of them. 'Cause I'm like, man, this dude he got the resources. He's a fan now. He done turned, all in, and zip. He just disappears. Especially after this, Skinwalker, not Skinwalker, but the thing to the stars or whatever they did that didn't do much. So I don't know. Um, so at first, like I said, I was like the biggest fan, and now it's like, where he at anyway? So I don't know. I don't even know what happened to him.
I will say this: anybody in the UFO world that buys the fact that he actually put together all of Robert Bigelow's former team members
Yeah.
and put together on his own volition the To the Stars Academy. I have a bridge in the middle of a desert that is real cheap for sale. Number one. Number two, he also helps push a very negative outlook on extraterrestrials. Thank you to his relationship to Peter Levenda, longtime researcher, who thinks all aliens are demons. And don't forget, when Tom was on the Joe Rogan show, he was going out there saying that we need to get nukes in space as quickly as possible because they fear our nuclear weapons. Are you kidding me? If these extraterrestrials have just flown 20 million light years to get here, I'm pretty sure they have the technology where a nuclear weapon would be like flicking a fly off your arm.
I'm with you on that. Why not, right? And so, yeah, I'm with you.
So, not a fan. I love his music. Okay, I will admit I like Blink 182.
I never heard of it. Not one beat, not one nothing.
That's pretty good, but not a fan of him in ufology. Mark Ellens is asking, Roderick, do you believe there's a galactic federation that protects Earth?
I believe that there's people who believe that I know that does that. So I believe they believe, and so therefore I'm willing to go on a journey of thought with them that it exists. And I hope it does in some way if it's going to protect mankind in the future or humankind. Let's how about that, or the species. Period. But I when I talk to Barbara Lamb, who's she's a good dear friend, and we talk all the time. She stands by it completely that there's a galactic federation. You hear people all the time. I've been contacted by people saying they are part of the Galactic Federation. I get texts, and I probably have at least 4 people that said they were, unverifiable, by the way. So I hope something like that does exist because it just add to the wow factor of what we're doing. But I personally don't have any information on that.
I think a lot of people have had experiences with it where they are convinced that this is out there. I'm skeptical of it. I am someone who I want it to be there, but I don't know if it's there. I have no proof. I have no indication, but people that I trust and care for believe that it does exist. So who do I believe? I have to take their word for it.
Absolutely.
I think the only way we're going to figure out is if Putin hits the button and the nukes start spraying, whether or not the aliens will take them out like they have allegedly told people for the sake of our planet. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Let's get to Tony in the UK. Roderick, what's your strangest of high strangeness?
I don't know if I can really answer that because it's just so much. Probably what we was talking about earlier, underwater civilization and things washing up on the shores that just unidentified, just made up. Like they just put 2, 3 things together and said, let's see what this is. But really one of the high strangeness that I'm reading this book in is the platypus, right? Y'all know what that is, right? And it's it's in this book, it states that the aliens gave us proof that we did not evolve from apes, and we definitely didn't come from the Adam and Eve story, all of that stuff. That, and to prove that, they put the platypus here with us. If you've seen it, it's got duck feet, duck bill, but it's I think it's a mammal, but it lays eggs. All right. So it's like we can make something and show you how weirdness and strangeness could be, that this thing is going to lay an egg, but the egg is a mammal. So I'm still looking at that in the origins of that. So that's where I'm at.
Good point. Good point. I don't know Rod's strangeness. I don't know. Let's sneak in one more from Deb. Roderick, what was the tastiest entree you had at Billy's New Year's party?
Listen. Here's the journey. I went down there, of course, first class, everything. I flew, and I flew, first class on an airplane, and not because I'm just like that. It's because, it's just something about being, big for my age, that you need the space when you get on the plane. But it didn't stop there. When I got off, he has a driver, and he picked me up in his Rolls Royce. He has two, and so we go to his new house. I was at his old house when we did the first film, the Black Knight Satellite. So we drive up into this neighborhood, and I kind of showed in one of my videos, and it's got these huge two pyramids that go into this neighborhoods, and these things are probably way up there, and there's water cascading down on them. And I'm like, this is already it. This is it. So we go in to the house, toward the house, and we pull up, and I step out into the driveway, and I say, I need to start manifesting more, And I say this because it was, it was surreal. But when we get down to the entree, Liz is a chef, a pastry chef. That's what she's got her, whatever you want to call it, pastry, whatever. And so she handmade all these pastries the night before. I was there the night before, and that Friday, and it was just four of us at the house. And so that was probably the most tastiest thing, sitting there watching her do this and pretty much do those things. But overall, I think it's I came back with a whole new perspective on not only what we doing, how we doing it, but at the same time, what can we do with serving humanity. It really was a surreal. So hopefully I answered. But the entrees, because they had a chef there, and this guy cooks them a lot of stuff, but it was the pastries that was my favorite.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. Good pastries. Roderick, we got about a minute to go here, and I want to say a big thank you for you coming on in here at Spaced Out Radio. Once again, my friend, it's always a pleasure to get the opportunity to chat with somebody like you, and your show, which is absolutely great, on YouTube, called Why the Big Secret. Roderick is one of the honest voices. That's why I love it when he comes on this show. And Rod, do a favor, tell everybody where they can find your info.
Oh, you can find my info on, there's a whythebigsecret.com, which will kind of tell a little story. You can see some of my baby pictures when I first saw my UFO. But mainly, just go to Roderick Martin, Why the Big Secret, or also go now to the truthseekercommunity.com. It's a little app. You'll see hundreds of people in the last few days. 500 have joined, and they're all in there talking about UFOs, extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, all of those. That's the new community that we want, where people can have uncensored conversation. It's www.truthseekerscommunity.com. And don't forget, Dave is going to be on my show on some Thursday, dictated with a small window.
It's true. It is very true, my friend. Much love to you, Rod. Coming up next, we're going to head to the swamp. Then Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is going to join us. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Stay tuned.
Love you guys.
That's True Seekers, right?
Truth
Not
Seekers.
Truth?
Truth. TRUTH. Seekers with a S.com.
I'm trying to bring it up here.
You got to put www on it. It hadn't propagated where you don't have to put that, but www.truthseekerscommunity.com.
I have to put it in the community?
So it's 3 words, truthseekerscommunity.com. And if I didn't tell everybody, I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce it right. I'm so excited. So excited.
Oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
There it
And
is. I'm going
to join. It just, you have to scroll down, go in, and Dave, you have to see it. We got it all set up in spaces. They can talk about paranormal space. There's a ET and religion space. There's a space for UFOs reporting. There's a space for cryptids. There's a space for conspiracies, and people are coming in and posting, and it's uncensored. They can do uncensored stuff, and we're looking for new thought leaders, people who want to step up and share their opinions in a place, and then become tomorrow's thought leaders. And so we got to give them a voice, and that's where it is. And I'm getting a lot of thank you. People love it. People are sharing some intimate stuff, their experiences there, and it's our place. It's our community, all of us, and it's free. It's in pre-launch, meaning it's not all perfect, but it's nice and cozy. And then, of course, hopefully on my birthday, it'll be fully functional.
Well, look at that. I'm going to play with this, man. This looks really cool.
Play with
Looks
it,
really
and call
cool.
me, and I will share some things with you, some insight with it. Yeah.
All right, my friend. Hopefully we get to see you in Vegas for our fan party.
I'm going to be there, man. I'm coming.
Beauty.
All right.
Beauty.
Peace and love, man. We'll talk. I'm going to head on.
Much love, my friend. You take care, okay?
All right. Bye-bye.
Roderick Martin from Why the Big Secret on YouTube. Why the Big Secret. I'll be back here in just a couple of seconds, guys. Bear with me. All right. Big thank you to Roderick. Make sure you hit subscribe on his channel. It was a vast interview for sure. Swamp Dweller coming up next. Thank you, Juan times 3. Louis times 3. Atlantis, Deb times 2. Cable Guy, Laura, Pam, Steve, Robin, Susie, Kevin. Appreciate the love. Vegas, down below on the ticker. Make sure you sign up at info@spacedoutradio.com. We want to see you there. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Galericulate. Galericulate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. It's time to head to the swamp. Here's Swamp Dweller.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. For a while now, ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated with Point Pleasant, West Virginia. My dad used to tell me stories of the Mothman and how it terrorized the small town back in the 60s. It's because of his stories I started doing research on other cryptids and urban legends, like skinwalkers, wendigos, the Jersey Devil, and many others. Point Pleasant was the closest town to me, so I made it a goal to drive down there for a weekend on the 53rd anniversary of the first Mothman sighting. On Friday, November 15th, I picked up my stepbrother and stepsister, and we headed down to West Virginia. They were both skeptics. They didn't care about the legend. I honestly don't know why they even wanted to go in the first place. We made it to the small town around 3 p.m. and checked into the Low Hotel. A couple of hours after going into the Mothman Museum and checking out the other small shops, my two friends, Katie and Joanna, made it down for the weekend trip as well. We all met at the Mothman restaurant where some locals knew we were from out of town and enjoyed us talking about the small town. One of them asked, "You folks go check out the TNT area yet?" I responded with, "Not yet, but it's on our to-do list." This is when our group thought it would be a great idea to go there at nighttime and head to the area where Mothman was sighted by the two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Mallet. We bought lights and headlamps and headed to the area at around 8:45 p.m. We approached a gate that was blocked off so no vehicles could pass by and decided to get out of the car and walk into the wooded area. It was really dark out and all we had to guide our way was our lights we brought and my GPS leading us to one of the bunkers. We made it to an opening in the forest where I believe the factory's building once stood before getting demolished. It was at this time my stepsister and Joanna saw a pair of eyes staring at us from the woods. Whatever it was turned around and walked back into the forest. They assumed it was a big animal, and for our safety, we headed back to the car. As we passed the gate, I noticed it could be lifted with two people, and we decided to open it and head in with my car. As soon as we passed the open area, we found a bunker to our right, parked the car, and went inside to get some pictures. Our one friend was beginning to get a little too uncomfortable, so for her sake, I told her we will come back when it's daylight, so we could be more aware of our surroundings in the wood. We got back in the car, and I pulled back into the road. Before we could take off, Katie and I told the group we were going to close the fence since it was closed for a reason. We got out of the car, which was facing away from the fence, and the only lights we had were my brake lights on. We picked up the fence and slowly started moving it back into place. That's when I saw it. A pair of glowing eyes staring at me from the bunker we were just at. They easily stood 6 to 7 feet off the ground, and it was just staring at us. I stopped moving and I said, "Katie, do you see that?" She responded with, "What?" and looked up and saw the eyes too. The moment we both were looking at the eyes, it became red and started coming toward us. I yelled, "Katie, run!" And as she screamed and ran for the car, the creature pursuing us let out this horrifying roar. Nothing I have ever heard in my life before or since. As Katie ran, she fell and hit the ground hard, and I didn't move till I knew she was safely inside. As soon as I got her in, I ran. The eyes were easily 15 feet away from me at this point, and I jumped in the car and pressed on the gas as hard as I could. The road to get out of the TNT area is a 35-mile-per-hour road, and I was easily doing 100 to get out of there. We were very shaken up about this event, but it honestly felt like history was repeating itself 53 years ago. Once we got back to the hotel, we gathered our thoughts and I tried to think logically on what we saw. We looked up wildlife local to the area and tried to compare the noise, but nothing matched. I'm not saying it was the Mothman, or Sheep Squatch, or Wendigo, but something about the way it stood and started coming towards us made me think otherwise. My group and I have decided to invest in tech to record our cryptid hunts next time we go. We want to return back to Point Pleasant soon to try and capture what we saw on camera. Cryptid hunting is no joke. What we felt was genuine fear, and we could have died that night. Yes, it might have been a bear, it might have been a mountain lion, but you got to be careful. You don't know what's out there, waiting in the dark for its next meal.
And that's why we love the Swamp Dweller out there, putting a little spookiness into this show each and every night. Right here on Spaced Out Radio to kick off hour number 3. And of course, you can always check out Swamp Dweller and thousands of stories just like that by going to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. Well, from the swamp to the forests, it is that time of the night. For Super Duke at World Bigfoot Radio and the Cryptid Report. Super Duke, the Cryptid Report with Super Duke. Yes, Super Duke for World Bigfoot Radio is back once again. How you doing, my friend?
Having fun as always, Dave. Just here
Me
as
too.
your friendly neighborhood Sasquatch ambassador. How are you doing?
I am good. You know what? Somehow I got to figure out to bring that audio level down on the Super Duke. That is loud, man. That is way too loud. And you know what? Just what do you do? What do you do?
Well, it's hilarious anyway.
One of these days I'll actually get to it. That's a whole different story right there. Whole different story.
And one of these days we got to have a panel discussion on Bigfoot disclosure and why that's not happening.
I would love to.
I'll do
We
it. I'll
should
get
do that.
Robin. We'll figure out who else we need to have on there that's actually been doing this for decades and has something useful to weigh in on with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always a good time, my friend. It is always a good time to have good chats with good people such as you guys. That is 100% for sure. That's real serious stuff right there, Super Duke. Real serious stuff.
Well, we're super excited for 2023 because, first of all, I now have a vehicle that's going to be able to get me around. And with my ridiculously limited budget, I was going like, well, if I can get a Volvo that doesn't explode and I can curl up in the back of it, I'll be happy. No, I managed to actually pull off a frickin' camper. So I've got a camper now. It's a house on wheels. I could literally cram everything I've got in my apartment into my camper and drive away with it. So it's probably bigger than I need, but it also means that I can get out in the woods and go camping a lot this summer. There's going to be a lot more field video, and my other research team members are going ridiculously overboard on getting all the equipment they want, multiple GoPros, drones, really expensive Jeeps. They're all sort of excited after they actually got things on video last summer. Now they really want to go out bad. So I guess that's incentive.
Very cool. Very, very cool, man. And you know what? I think you're going to find something this year. I think you're going to be really, really good with it.
Oh, all indications point in that direction. I'm still working on breaking down. Hey, Grandizer, psst, I see you. I'm still working on breaking down clip 405, which has turned out has so many cryptids in it that I've had to call in 6 different people that are really good at looking through photo and video to make sure we don't miss everything and we get everything in this clip. It's absolutely ridiculous. And right now I'm claiming that I got more cryptids on video in one video clip than anybody else has ever pulled off. So go prove me wrong. That'll be coming out soon. And Robin McCrae even freaked out when she was looking at it. She's like, oh my God, they're everywhere. You're walking past an army of them. So if you guys want to see the preliminary breakdown of that Dogman caught on video, came out a few weeks ago on my channel. It shows the entire 1 minute long clip that we're going to be breaking down in excruciating detail since there were so many of them all just jammed right next to each other. Yeah, so this is turning into a lot of work. It's not like you film the Patterson Gimlin video and there's Patty. There you go. That's what you're looking at. No, this is like there's tons of stuff in there. You're all sitting there watching you go past. Some of them are moving. You can see their eyes and stuff. It's pretty creepy. So yeah, fun. And then the other thing that keeps coming up is that it sounds like I keep getting people contacting me just out of the blue that need help with some weird thing that always comes back to they've been interacting with Sasquatch their entire lives, and they're getting messages from them that they want to start having direct interaction with humans on a limited basis at least, and at least get out to people in general that they're not monsters and don't shoot at them. And so there may be some sort of a disclosure coming from, of all places, the Sasquatch themselves this year. And I don't know what their time frame is, but there's, they're lining up all their ducks in a row, and it's looking like they're seriously going to be doing something like this. From all indicators of all the people I know that actually interact and talk to them, and some of them mind speak and some of them physically talking to them, and they're all getting the same message. So for me, this is super exciting. We may actually be able to finally settle this thing and take, lap and hurl eggs at all the big monkey in the woods people that have been wasting everybody's time for the last few decades.
Yeah, the old monkey in the woods, eh?
Mm-hmm.
The old monkey in the woods.
Ain't no monkey in the woods, buddy. That's another thing with the whole why no disclosure on Bigfoot. It's going to shut down all these industries and all this other stuff. First of all, the government's well aware they exist. I mean, I would be completely amazed if the Canadian government wasn't aware of their existence, because the U.S. military certainly has been for decades. And that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight, because I got a lot of reports of military encounters with them right at military bases. And this has been going on for decades. Back in the 70s, they issued a little pamphlet for the local military that were doing maneuvers in Washington State. This is the sort of terrain. Here's problems you might encounter. Here's the local wildlife that you might run into. And they listed Sasquatch. So, I mean, come on. They know it's there. Why are they covering it up? Because it's a big monkey in the woods? It was a big monkey in the woods. They would have had it in a zoo 150 years ago. They're covering it up because it isn't a big monkey in the woods. They can't control it, and they can't contain it. So making parks and big timber areas off limits is absolutely worthless, because as any Bigfoot researcher that's worth a damn will tell you, there's reports from every province and all 49 states on the continent. The only state there isn't a report from is Hawaii. So they're everywhere. So this whole red herring that it's going to shut down the timber industry, most of the country doesn't have a timber industry. They're still not talking about it.
No, that they aren't. And you know what? The forest workers don't want to talk about it either. They don't want to talk about it either, man.
Yeah, my point is, like, even if they said, okay, it's real and they live in the big forests and all these big timber areas and national forests and parks and stuff, we have to shut them down for your safety. You can't go in there anymore. Okay, how are you going to stop them from wandering in between all these areas? And what about the ones that aren't living in those areas and are already living in all these areas in between? There's plenty of Bigfoot sightings from Arizona and New Mexico, too, not known as heavily timbered states. See what I'm saying? They're everywhere. So that's not, that obviously hasn't got much of anything to do with their thinking on why not to disclose it.
Understandable. All right, let's get to some of these military stories that you got for us tonight.
Well, what I'm reading from tonight is The De Facto Sasquatch by Mary Green, who did just a great job of compiling all this information for years and then sadly died right before it was released. I was actually contacted by her relatives and asked, if I could promote this a little bit. And at this point, I think I'm going to actually just do on my channel, I'm going to read her whole book basically in segments, so everybody gets a chance to hear it. And if you want to, you can find it online. It is free, The De Facto Sasquatch. So anyway, here's Fort Lewis, Washington, U.S. Army military installation, 1977 and 78 is where this report comes from. And Dave, I can't see you on the screen, so if I start running too long, give me an audio cue. In 1978, Edwin Godoy was an E-4 soldier with the U.S. Army commissioned to Fort Lewis in Washington State. Fort Lewis is located next to a forested area in the western state. Mr. Godoy was also an expert marksman who came out of the third best marksman in the U.S. Army for that year. One night, as his platoon was returning in a truck from some war games in the forest, the truck malfunctioned and lost all power. Impossible to make it start. The acting commander decided to return to the base by foot with the soldiers and ordered Godoy, as he was the one who had signed for taking out the truck, to stay unguarded until morning, when a tow unit from the base would finally be sent to pick it up and him. To Godoy, this was somewhat irregular, as normally 2 men would be ordered to do this. Anyway, the others left at around 8 p.m. and he remained there with the truck. Now, at about 12:15, he noticed a figure some 300 meters away from him, standing next to some pine trees in the forest. What shocked Godoy was the size of the figure. It was tall, and his body was completely covered with hair. Quote, "It was something very big, huge, a giant," he said. And it was all covered by a dark, long, grayish hair all over its body. It was standing next to a pine tree and swinging his body sideways while looking straight at me. It looked somewhat like a man, but it wasn't a man. Very strongly built with a broad chest. The eyes seemed to be self-luminous and glowed red. The thing started coming towards me, so I shouted a halt 3 times, asking the thing to stop and identify itself. As it wouldn't reply, I made a first shot into the air, and then I shot at him or it. I don't know how to call it. The hairy thing grabbed its chest and emitted a loud moan, stopped, and then ran to its right, disappearing into the heavy tree forest that makes up Fort Lewis Army Base. Godoy, very nervous, and understandably so, reasoned he had just seen a Bigfoot, one of the forest creatures that Native Americans in the region often talked about. Afraid, he locked himself inside the truck until 6 a.m. when 2 mechanics from the base arrived in a tow unit to pick up the truck. He explained what had happened, but they didn't believe him. They all went to where the hairy thing was shot, and the men were surprised to see huge human-like footprints embedded in the soft ground and several small pools of blood that looked red, but strangely oily and fresh-looking. The mechanics stared at each other and then looked at Godoy in a strange way and mumbled something between them in a low voice. From that moment on, they kept at a distance and wouldn't talk to him. They communicated by radio to the base and reported the incident. Later on, the truck started at first try. At about 7:30 a.m., some unknown personnel arrived to the site, several men dressed in white lab coats, wearing thick gray, which he said was like rubber-looking, but could have been leaded, gloves, and boots, and took samples from the track's impressions on the ground, the alleged blood, which was handled with extreme care. The mechanics talked with these men, but Godoy was not allowed to do the same. Later, they were all ordered by radio to return at once to Fort Lewis. Godoy was to report himself to the base hospital immediately at his arrival. To his surprise, an Air Force medical officer and a colonel were waiting for him there. Fort Lewis is a U.S. Army military base with no ties to the Air Force. So why the presence of this full-bird Air Force colonel there? He couldn't say. The usual thing would have been for the regular medical staff in the base hospital to attend him. This man was not from the hospital's medical staff. The officer debriefed him thoroughly on the incident and made a complete medical and physical exam on him. While examining him, the officer kept asking at what distance he was from the creature when he shot at it. He was asked the creature's description and asked if he felt a tingling sensation or had a sore throat, headaches, if a rash had developed on his skin, and several other things. The Air Force medical officer apparently knew what to ask. It was obvious to Godoy that he was looking for specific symptoms and answers, but symptoms and answers to what? Several samples of his blood, skin scrapings, urine, saliva, and other types of samples were taken from Godoy. The soldier knew something odd was going on. He kept asking the officer where he had come from, but he wouldn't answer. After being examined, he was ordered to go to his barracks, where he took a shower and rested. Later, he was ordered to go to the base commander's office. The base commander, a lieutenant general, name not remembered by Godoy, was there together with his company commander, Captain Underwood, and a colonel whose last name was, to his best recall, Cropsey. They debriefed him again on what had happened out of the woods, and then the base commander ordered Godoy not to talk ever to anyone on what had happened. He was warned that if he ever talked about it, he'd be court-martialed and would face consequences. Later, heading to his room, he was approached by El Robles, a Puerto Rican soldier who was assigned to the hospital's lab. Robles asked Godoy what it was he had shot. Godoy said he was ordered not to discuss the matter, and Robles insisted on asking. He asked Robles why it was so important for him to know. And Robles answered, I, together with two other guys, had to analyze the blood samples taken from the ground. We know you're the soldier involved because it was stated as such on the report. It's crazy, but what the hell was it you shot out there? When we examined the blood samples, we found out three weird things in it. That blood contained human blood cells, animal blood cells, and chlorophyll. What the hell was it? Author's note. Any blood retrieved from a dirt road is most assuredly going to be unhygienic with any number of contaminants. Chlorophyll, nothing more than a green pigment found in almost all green plants, algae, and cyanobacteria, does not necessarily indicate green alien man, and Robles should have known that fact, if indeed he was any kind of blood technician. It would make sense that the Puerto Rican who told this story to Stansbury did some embellishing on his own, including the questionable red eye glow, which is not a human or non-human primate characteristic. I say human because preliminary DNA presumption for Sasquatch suggests that this writing, mitochondrial 100% human, and presumptive blah, blah, blah. And I must add that the Ketchum DNA study came out after this was published, and she's right. So back to the narrative. Godoy stated...
One minute.
Godoy stated that he could not discuss the incident and left. Now, thinking back, he feels that the base commander, Colonel Cropsey, and Captain Underwood all seemed to know what they were dealing with, and for that reason, they had ordered him to keep his mouth shut. But he found it rather strange that he was ordered to stand guard with the truck alone. Why was he left alone? I don't know, Martin, but after thinking it over, I had a strange feeling. All I know for sure is that the U.S. government and the military know something weird is happening in the Northwest, and they don't want the people to know about it, stated Godoy.
And on that note, Super Duke, we're going to continue this fantastic cryptid story when we return on Spaced Out Radio, the Cryptid Report with Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. We love it when he's around here. Yeah, we do. You always got something interesting for us, Duke. And that's what I love about it. It's what I love about your story time.
Something different every time.
That's what it makes it awesome. That's the Cryptid Report. It will continue right to the top of the hour here with Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio when we return for the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio right after this. Please stay tuned. Hello to Susan A. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got cryptids.
Oob.
Oob. You know what oob means, right? Joe used to come into the chat room
out of body
and say boo. So I just flipped it to oob.
Awesome. I'm going to grab a couple hits off Super Sig here during the break.
You go.
Be right back. Let me cut my background noise here so that doesn't
cut your background noise. Cut your background noise. Super Duke. Super Duke. Mm-hmm. Been a good show so far. Deb from SAC, have you booked your trip to Vegas yet? Grandizer, how about you? Susan A., we're glad you found us. We're glad you found us. Thank you. Where's this made? In Sorrento, BC. This stuff is so good. Aromatherapy. Black Moon, it's called. It's got citrus, vanilla, and black pepper. Uplift and inspire. Shake, mist, and spray body. I just sprayed in my room. Ooh. Ooh. Grantavius. Smells like oranges. Vanilla oranges. Oh, it smells so good. Nice. Who's Jade, Grandizer? Who's Jade? Look at the Grantavius Maximinius there. I am looking dapper. I am.
Okay.
35 seconds, buddy. Big thank you tonight to Juan with a hat trick of super chats, Louie with a hat trick of super chats, Deb with a pair, Atlantis, Cable Guy, Lara, Pam, Steve, Robin, Susie, and Kevin. Thank you so much for the love, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. Doesn't Super Duke's hair look great tonight?
Ooh.
Yeah. 10 seconds, buddy.
Bigfoot called me the little hairless guy.
All right, buddy. Here we go. Super Duke. Rounded third, we're headed for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a great show so far as we continue with the Cryptid Report. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Let's continue on with Super Duke for World Bigfoot Radio, the Cryptid Report. Duke, take us away.
Big Sky howdy, and welcome back from my secret base located high in the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, glad to be back, guys. We're going to do more military encounters. And first of all, everybody's in chats talking about my hair and why don't I, why do I have long hair and stuff, Well, yeah, they asked Samson that too, and he fell for that trick. I'm not getting my hair cut. I'm keeping my superpowers. Dave just deadpans me.
Superpowers for Super Duke.
That's right. You can't cut your hair, you lose your superpowers, Dave. Now you got to grow it back again.
I'm liking the short hair right now. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not saying I'm not going to grow my hair again.
You look very dapper, but you almost, look too much like Colonel Sanders. So. Grow that beard out some more. We got to see some more beard on you.
I'll grow the beard out. You
got to have the beard.
It hasn't been that cold of a winter, though. That's the problem.
Honestly, it hasn't been here either. It's like in the 30s right now. This time of night in Montana, really? In January? Yeah, it's been strange. We've been getting a lot of fog. Got like 4 inches of snow last night, and it all melted again. Just for anybody that missed it, and any fans of Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organizations, Kelly Shaw on Sunday's show, he won the retroactive Biggie Award for Field Researcher of the Year for 2019. And if you guys want to see that, we talk about it at the end of the show. And it's hilarious because not only did he win this award for doing something spectacularly dangerous and crazy, and then successfully getting the evidence he came there for, but he was also sick when he did it. And as he explains at the end of the show, just between, me and him and the audience, he actually called in sick to work to go there and do the research that day. And I said, my God, you made the climb up that icy mountain while you were sick too yet? And he goes, oh yeah, if I hear there's a Bigfoot sighting near me and I can't go to it, it makes me sick. So the only way I could feel better was to go over there and check it out. Now that's dedication. So that's what won him the award. So anyway, getting back to the military thing, because, that's what we're here to talk about, right? There are ridiculous amounts of these reports, and Mary Green got a lot of them. Here's another one. The last one, we had nothing left but footnotes, so we finished that right on time. This is from McGuire Air Force Base and Fort Dix Army Base. A letter and possibly related story from Craig Bennett, Pemberton, New Jersey. Dear Ms. Short, I have never seen a Bigfoot. Excuse me, Bobby Short, not Mary Green. Why do I keep saying that? Bobby Short. Dear Mrs. Short, I've never seen a Bigfoot, found any tracks, or heard any sounds. Recently, I discovered your website and thought out of curiosity to just take a look. The accounts by military personnel are interesting. The point is this: back in December 1977, some 36 years ago, I was a freshman at Burlington County College, located at Pemberton, New Jersey, next door to McGuire Air Force Base and Fort Dix Army Base. So it was a common sight seeing military personnel on the college courses. While sitting in the snack bar and trying out my first cup of coffee, a soldier walked in and went over to a table, and then a second soldier arrived and went over to the first one and excitedly asked him if he had heard about the news. He related that a platoon of soldiers on an exercise, I'm not sure the fort name, went into the woods to drill and were injured in an encounter with a Bigfoot somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. The first soldier then looked around the room nervously and then the other soldier and told him not to talk about it here and we'll do it later. I did not see them again, nor do I know their names. Also, I really didn't look either because I was trying to pass my courses and experience college. If there's some of the information on a base encounter with Bigfoot where injuries were observed, please contact me. Now, this one is from Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, 89. Following was told to an Iraq veteran, Senior Staff Sergeant Todd Neese, Sandy, Oregon. My friend who came to Fort Ord Training Center in Monterey, California in 1989 stated his Army career at 2nd Battalion, 75th Joint Base Lewis McChord in southwest Tacoma. He told me about an encounter somewhere on the Nisqually River in Washington State. The Nisqually drains part of the Cascade Range southwest of Tacoma, including the southern slope of Mount Rainier, and empties into the southern end of Puget Sound. The Nisqually River forms the Pierce-Lewis County line, as well as the boundary between Pierce and Thurston counties. A swimmer was dispatched across the Nisqually to recon the other side. He crept up the steep embankment on the other side and disappeared into the thick woods. After a few minutes, the recon man let out a scream and came flying back down to the Nisqually River and back across. He was in hysterics, saying that he'd in effect snuck up on a Bigfoot to their mutual surprise. The creature freaked out and took off in the opposite direction. The other rangers heard the snapping of brush like something big hauling butt out of there. The company crossed and did a quick recon of the area and found the usual distinctive big footprints, evidence of something large. The young soldier who had the encounter left the Army not long afterwards. One of the other stories involved a company of Army Rangers on a night ambush. Sometime after they'd gotten into position, they heard a guy stalking them. They maintained fire discipline and waited for what they thought would be the rest of the op unit that they were to hit. Instead, the guy seemed to be alone, and as he came upon their position, he stopped. Then he proceeded to stalk their perimeter. The ranger who tells the story marveled at the guy's expertise. After completing his recon, the guy slowly backed up the way he came and disappeared into the night, leaving a distinct odor behind. It seems like every guy I met who was at Lewis had a Bigfoot story or knew someone who did. If you are ex-military, you might have an in with those folks, although I couldn't tell you how to approach them, especially the Rangers. You know how they can be with us mere mortals. Yeah, I had one of them on my show. That's how they are with us mere mortals. It's hard to get them to talk about things. Now, Todd Neese re-enlisted in the Army, was deployed to Iraq in 2010-11. Upon his return, Todd talked freely about his own 1993 sighting and recounts it here for the recording of that unusual event. It was April 3rd, 1993, and was a day that will always be seared in my mind as if it was yesterday. As a sergeant in Charlie Company 1249th Combat Engineers, it was business as usual as we headed up into the dense temperate rainforest in the Coast Range in northwest Oregon. On that particular day, our mission was to conduct training on private timberland near Saddle Mountain, just east of the coastal resort town of Seaside. We would be executing demolitions and explosives operations at 3 rock quarries. Each site had a unique battle scenario to accomplish. At the first site, we practiced cutting charges, essentially slicing through steel I-beams with C4 plastic explosives. The second site held a complex obstacle consisting of a field of surface-laid anti-tank mines followed by a triple-strand concertina wire fence. We were to clear a vehicle lane through both. The third and last training area was situated in yet another gravel quarry on a hillside that overlooked the second blast site. Here our mission was to emplace a cratering charge. As the name implies, this type of operation involves making of a rather large hole, and as you would expect, a rather large kaboom to go with it. Generally, this is done to sever a road, thus denying the enemy its use. While at the second blast site, there was an unusual event which in hindsight may have been related to my sighting. While I was directing my squad to emplace their charges next to the anti-tank mines, there was a rather large crescendoing whoop that emanated from the west end of the minefield. At that moment, I was bent over placing my own charge. Upon hearing the somewhat shrill noise, I immediately stood up and sought out the perpetrator, as we were under orders to practice noise discipline during the exercise in case the enemy were nearby. As I glanced around the minefield, I was surprised to find all of my men were still busy preparing their charges, not, as I suspected, goofing off. I shrugged my shoulders and went back to work. In hindsight, it seems to me that the whoop sound came from further back in the tree line. It should be noted that absent a standard issue shaped charge, we had a backhoe pre-dig a starter hole. After replacing several bags of diesel-soaked ammonium nitrate into the aforementioned hole, we tamped the charge. Once again, the area was cleared, and I initiated the dual-primed M60 fuse igniters. I took my place in the waiting convoy, and per standard operating procedure, we began the descent down the winding single-lane road to the safety staging area. As a squad leader, I had the privilege of requisitioning my own Humvee. Ours was the second vehicle of a 5-vehicle convoy, 2 Humvees up front, 2 covered deuce-and-a-half trucks filled with troops, and the commander's Humvee taking up the rear. I sat behind the driver's seat, and as we were descending the graveled road down toward the staging area, I had the opportunity to sit back and enjoy the scenery. As it is just second nature for me to spot for wildlife, it was a rare sunny day in April. I had my window unzipped for a better view. Rounding a corner, I could see the rock quarry where we did our second blast less than an hour earlier. Standing right out in the open, in the middle of the gravel pit, were 3 jet black bipedal creatures. They stood in line, shoulder to shoulder, staring directly at our convoy as it descended the hillside across from them. Between us was a ravine populated with 8 to 12-year-old Douglas fir and hemlock. At a distance of several hundred meters, I could not make out facial features of gender, but there was no doubt what I was looking at were not humans. Had these creatures been standing in front of a backdrop of trees, I most likely would not have seen them at all. But in this case, there stood 3 dark black figures contrasted against a light gray cliff of basalt on a bright sunny day. In the middle stood what I assumed to be the alpha male of the group, as it towered a full head above the other 2 creatures that flanked it. I would estimate it to have stood approximately 9 feet tall, with the flanking creatures approaching 7 feet in height. Their silhouette was unique in that their heads sat directly on their shoulders with no visible neck. They all displayed broad, square shoulders and barreled chests which tapered down to svelte waistline, unlike the creatures seen in the Patterson-Gimlin film in '67. The arms of these beings hung well past their knees. In the case of the 2 flanking creatures, they were exhibiting a swaying motion, rocking side to side, as the larger creature stood as still as a statue. All the while I was staring at the creatures, we were bounding down a dirt road, and the occasional hedge of blackberry or Scotch bloom was obscuring my view. I had approximately 25 seconds of viewing time. Being in shock and not knowing whether I would lose sight of them at any second, I stared in disbelief. Once the vehicle rounded a sharp corner, I knew I had seen the last of them. I fell back into my seat with a mixture of shock for what I had witnessed and an odd sense of depression. It's hard to explain what goes through one's mind in such a moment. My head began to swim with questions. They do exist, and not just a solitary beast, but a group of them. How could they exist and not be discovered? What do I do now? I felt a sudden urge to tell someone, but who? I had seen something scientifically, if not historically important, and someone should be notified. There must be some authority that needs this information. I began to make a mental checklist. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife? No. The Forest Service? No. The zoo? No. The police? Hell no. Then who? And more importantly, who would believe me anyway? Reluctantly, I decided, like most people do, to keep my mouth shut. Here I was, a family man, a vice president of a shipping company, and a non-commissioned officer in the Army National Guard. I had worked long and hard for my reputation, and yet with one simple sentence, I saw Bigfoot, I could throw it all away. If I knew it was good for me, I would never tell a soul. Arriving back at the staging area, I immediately jogged back up the road in a futile effort to get one more look at these amazing creatures. Unfortunately, there was a knoll which blocked my view of the gravel pit. My activity hadn't gone unnoticed. Suddenly I heard footsteps heading my way. Then a voice yelled, "Hey, niece!" I turned and saw Sergeant Jeff Martin heading my direction. As he approached, he looked over his shoulder to see if he was being followed. Satisfied that we were alone, he said something I'll never forget. He took a long drag off his cigarette, exhaled, looked me squarely in the eyes, and said, "I don't suppose you saw what I saw back at the blast site." I could tell from the look in his eyes that he knew something. I felt overwhelmed at the possibility, but decided to err on the side of caution. I replied, "I don't know, Jeff. What did you see?" Once again, he looked left, then right to make certain of our privacy, and then stated rather matter-of-factly, "I saw 3 huge, hair-covered, for lack of a better word, big feet." Trying to contain my excitement, I hissed, "Yes, I saw them too." I was overwhelmed with a sense of utter relief. I wasn't alone after all. It wasn't that I needed validation of what I had seen. Corroboration could not have altered the truth, but it sure felt good. It felt liberating at that we began to compare notes. And that's where that report ends. Here's another one. I was once stationed at U.S. Marine Corps Base, Quantico, Virginia. I was a young Marine from East Sheldon, Vermont. Didn't know anything about Bigfoot at the time. I was stationed at the base. I've been at the base about 5 months when patrolling grounds around my post one night around 02:30 hours. I heard a noise and looked around for the source of that noise. It was unusual to hear anything in that area but night birds. Usually it's dead quiet. Nothing ever happened on that watch. To stay awake, you had to keep moving. The area is heavily wooded, and it's known to have bears, but I never saw a single bear in my time at Quantico. My area was fenced. Excuse me. Page down too far.
I hate that.
Yeah, this thing just, you hit it once and it goes down the whole page. The area is heavily wooded and it's known to have bears, but I never saw a single bear in my time at Quantico. The area was fenced with razor wire. I listened for any noise and then moved on, taking 3 to 4 steps when I heard it again. This time the noise was behind me and sounded like it moved when I moved. I tried it again. A few steps and the noise took a few steps. It stopped when I stopped, and it didn't matter which direction I headed. That was out of order. I hollered, "Who goes there? Show yourself." Silence. I repeated the order twice more, but heard and saw nothing. Rain began falling lightly and the wind picked up some. After I listened again for a long while, I moved on with no more activity. Then 2 hours later, rain quit as I approached the same wooded area, the same noises like something walking in the woods. This time I decided to head into the woods to scope out the noise, as nobody on base was supposed. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Lost it there. Man, here you go. Nobody on base was supposed to be in that zone. Approaching the trees, I shined my light ahead, and there, not 30 feet away from where I was, stood this thing. I was surprised. I froze. What was it? I'm 6'4" high school basketball player, and this Paul Bunyan thing was over my head by at least 2 feet. Swear on my life. It had beige tan hair, and the damn thing had the hairiest body I've ever seen and no skivvies. He was male, and he just stood there looking at me expressionless. I raised my rifle and asked him who he was, but got no answer. Then I heard him breathing, and I got chicken skin all over me. Ma'am, this thing was a living nightmare to visualize. I raised my light up to see his face. He covered his eyes in his arm and backed off into the trees. He said nothing and made no noise leaving, but the breathing. All I heard was the crunch of leaves. Very creepy.
Very interesting.
He says, I did not follow it. In fact, I thought I was frickin' seeing things. You know, when you get that what the hell feeling? Here I was, half afraid of the booby hatcher of Section 8. I never told a living soul about that incident until now. Does Quantico have giant Bigfoot? I think that is what I faced that night. If Command knows about them, nothing was ever said around me about it.
That is so strange.
Well,
Super Duke, we have about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. You know, I love these natural encounters with the military. I'm familiar with the Todd Neese case too, but you know Todd Neese. He's very.
I know Todd.
He's very pro, or pardon me, anti-woo.
Yeah,
very.
I know Todd. I know Todd. Well, that's why Todd gets all the great video that he gets. Enough said. Dave got that one.
Dangerous.
Sorry, I can't help but tell the truth. The people that think that there's some kind of relic hominids that may have paranormal powers seem to be the people that can get pictures of them. And the people that they think they're big monkeys with no paranormal powers running around the woods can't get pictures of them.
Just over a minute here, man, before we got to go and call it the night. We'll make that just under 2 minutes. Not even reading the clock properly.
Dave's all shaken up by all these horrendous military encounters. And I'm going to read more to you guys. I'm going to read more to you guys because she has a ridiculously huge section in that book of nothing but military encounters. And most of them are around bases. You know, they're just like doing maneuvers around the base or something. I had somebody on my show a few years ago who was a tank driver and had a Bigfoot encounter while he was driving the tank. They had a whole squad of tanks, 5 tanks. They were doing maneuvers in this, you know, tank testing ground. And there was a huge Bigfoot that was walking up this hillside as they were coming down this valley. And he just turned and looked at him and kept nonchalantly walking away from them up this hillside into the wood line. And not only did he see it, but one of the other tank drivers also saw it. And they talked about it afterwards. Now, that's bizarre enough. But here's the other thing. This was in Germany.
Oh,
This
my.
is an area that had been set apart for decades for military maneuvers. There's a 15-foot high fence with barbed wire all the way around this gigantic area, and it's full of wild boar. And guess who else is living there?
Your friend Doggy Man?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. There's Bigfoot there for sure, though. And the other thing you said that was interesting is nobody's allowed to hunt in there. And generally, unless they're doing maneuvers with actual like armored vehicles or anything, nobody's walking around in there. You're not really allowed to walk around in there. It's set aside just for doing like armored maneuvers and stuff. So they're used to seeing tanks. They never see humans walking around. They got all the hogs they can eat. And they got a huge fence to keep idiots out from bugging them. Wow, sounds ideal.
And lots of food.
Lots of food. Lots of hogs. Yep.
You got that right. You got that right. Tell everybody where they can find Bigfoot Radio.
You can find World Bigfoot Radio, which may soon become World Bigfoot Central over at YouTube. It's also already branded as World Bigfoot Central on some of the other platforms I'm on, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, and Bright Eon. You can find my support groups on Facebook, which is Montana Bigfoot Project, where we show Bigfoot research here in Montana and take reports from everywhere around the world, and also World Bigfoot Radio over there.
We love you, big man. We'll talk to you in a couple days' time. Super Duke for World Bigfoot Radio. Big thank you as well, Roderick Martin and Swamp Dweller, for making this an excellent, excellent show. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need to we need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. That's good super duking right there, buddy. Very solid super duking.
Oh, the radio audience is totally loving that part.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have a face for radio and a voice for print.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
No, you got a voice for radio. I got a voice for print.
My lips got stuck right at the end there.
I noticed. I can't believe that. It's like you have that totally memorized. It's really bizarre when you have something totally memorized like that. And all of a sudden you're like, what am I supposed to say right now? What the hell?
Yeah, blanked out. Happens.
You just freeze up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's because I felt the pressure. I felt pressure there, super.
Felt the pressure. Yeah, it was all the extravagant dancing going on over on this side of the screen that was throwing you. I know, I'll take the blame for it.
They're all like, Super Duke, Super Duke.
Super Dave, he's so brave. Saw a Bigfoot, didn't run away. Look out, here comes Super Dave. Let out.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for that.
There's another soundbite for you. You can put that into your own theme song. Super Dave, Super Dave.
Wow.
A Bigfoot didn't run
Super
away.
Duke. I saw Super Duke walking down a street in Toho with a Chinese menu in his hand.
Smacking the crap
good,
out of
Joe.
some lame ass Chinese dog man. Piddly little foo-foo shih tzu thing.
Right?
We got friggin' Timberwolf dog man here, not those crappy little shih tzu Chinese dog man that they have over there. You can just kick them out of the way. They're so short. It's like having a fist fight with a friggin' Chihuahua dog man. Oh yeah, that's going to be rough. Anyway, I think I'm going to go kick the crap out of dog man here.
You go, buddy.
Love you guys. Everybody have a great night. See ya in a couple
care, buddy.
days.
Take care. All right, we're just downloading here. Getting everything ready. There we go. Make that happen. Good night, Super Duke. Super Duke. Good night to you, Super Duke. That's how we roll around here. That was fun. That was fun. No random guy sightings tonight. Random guy, where are you? Random guy. Susie B, on her way to Vegas, Susie B. Yes, I will be at UFO Con. March 17th and 19th. Hi, Applesauce. March 17th and 19th in San Francisco. Go to UFOCon2023.com. Come hang out. It's a good warm up to Vegas a few weeks later. Susie B, have you booked your trip for Vegas yet? Have you booked it? Who's coming with you? Who's coming with you, Susie B? Oh, man. Susie B got a hall pass to Vegas. Look at that. Look at that. Hall pass. Nice. Susan A., is this your first time in our chat room? I never come home with money in Vegas. Never. I never lose more than I can afford. Jorgen Johansson, are you going to fly over for the Vegas trip or what? I need a good left winger there. All the way from Farjestad. I'll be right back, people. Right back. All right, I'm back. Did my chair move? Did my chair move? Please let me know. Mm-hmm. Boy, this is taking a long time tonight. Yeah, we should get Travis on soon. I like Travis. He's a good dude. All right. Let's move this over. Yes, email info@spacedoutradio.com. Let us know what ticket packages you want, whether you want the regular tickets or the VIP. All right. It's getting a little blurry here for a second. That will be coming out once we seal the deal on everything. Once we get all the VIPs sorted out, VIP packages will end on March or April 1st. No, pardon me. April 1st. We're ending the VIP packages. And then we will be taking regular tickets up until the next. The VIP package is going to be cool. So we will get a schedule out for everything. Excuse me. VIP package, or pardon me, the regular ticket just gets you into, you guys can hang out with us at all times, except there is a private VIP party on the Friday night for us, you who take the VIP and the special guests, so you get to mingle with them for a few hours. And then you also get a big swag bag that goes along with that. Don't know what it's going to include yet. Last year we had some cool stuff. We'll get some cool stuff once again. That's why we need to know. How many swag bags are we going to need? There might be something Bigfoot in the swag bags. One down. There we go. Merle is back tomorrow night. Merle is back. Evan will let you talk to a slot machine. How about that? You could be like Enzo and win like $2,500. We're not doing presentations. We don't do presentations. That's what conferences are for. This isn't a conference. It's a party. Merle tomorrow night. Merle's hopped up for tomorrow. He's hopped. The old Merle. Our main man, Merle. Yeah, you keep your beer bongs at home there, Susie B, who got the hall pass. You better be on your best behavior without hubby there. Just saying. Best behavior. Frontier Studies, how you doing? Well, you can bring a pot's legal in Vegas. I don't care. Are you coming, Bobby Cheesy? You joining us in Vegas? So I said, Bobby Cheesy. Oob knows that all too well. Oob. All right, Merle's on the big show tomorrow. Be prepared. Tonight we want to say thank you to Juan ×3, Atlantis, Louis ×3, Deb ×2, Cable Guy, Lara, pardon me, and Pam ×2, Steve, and Robin, Susie, and Kevin for the amazing super chats. Thank you for the love tonight, guys. Very much appreciate it. We'll see you all tomorrow from Merle. You take care, everyone.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.